just got a bit too late. Ah, it's alright though, it's casual.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me double check that the streams are running and and I can tell people about it.
Yes. Initial retweet.
Public
Retweet.
profile. Cool, it's running on Twitch. It is running on YouTube. Cool, we are live. Alright, nice. Alright, now let's poke people and then let's get modeling.
Very good. Very good. Just
Nice.
let me know when you want to do introductions.
Yes, give me a moment.
Buzzing.
Yep, tweet it out. I'm gonna poke people on my Discord. Okay. Yeah, how's your day been?
Yeah, not bad. I had a 6-hour shift today, so
Ah,
not as bad as the 8-hour.
yeah. I mean, that's not. I mean, 2 hours less. Pretty good. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
At least it doesn't count as like a full work day. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it also means that because I start at 11, I can have a nice little lie-in as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, get a bit more of extra sleep. That's always nice. That's why I started doing working from home in the morning, so I can sleep like extra 30 minutes. I don't have like I mean it takes me only like 5 minutes to like go into the studio, but you know walking like having to get ready in the morning is also like a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, it's like getting stuff ready, getting breakfast ready, all that sort of stuff. Like it does take a bit of time, especially if you want to take it nice and slow, like I do.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
like taking it easy.
Cool. Yeah. Let's do our introductions now.
Yes. Radio. Hi guys, my name is Sophie, also known as S. Elliot Illu. I'm a freelance illustrator, and I'm one of Ryu's friends.
Yep, and I am Ryu, and if you're here, you should hopefully know who I am. Today we're gonna dive into some Blender basics. I'm gonna be teaching Sophie a little bit about like how to like do modeling and just use Blender in general. Answer any questions she might have and anybody else might have in chat, and just have some fun hopefully.
I'm very excited.
Yes. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how much you've used Blender so far, so I have a
Radio.
better handle on that.
Yeah, I've done some very, very basic meshing, and when I first was introduced to Blender, it was back in about 2018, I believe, for like a university course.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little bit of experience with the with how everything works on that front. The only issue is like I completely dropped it after the university course.
Oh,
and
so they taught you and then you forgot, basically.
it taught me a little bit about like meshes and a little bit about like bones and animation and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, right, I'm gonna go do character art now. Bye.
Well, I'm pretty much good enough at like pretty much most aspects of 3D art to like get by, right? I'm not like obviously I'm not like a proper 3D artist, but I know enough of it to do like a little bit of everything. So
Definitely know more than me. So
which is a low bar, but yes, probably. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you basically remember nothing. Would that be correct?
I would say I have gotten back into it a little bit recently, which is why I asked you about it.
Right. Yeah.
Earlier this week. I've been doing like some tutorials on there, on Blender. I've done maybe like 1.5 tutorials so far. So
You did do you do the donut?
I did actually a different one because I started in university with the donut tutorial.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to use like the frog tutorial instead, which is like basic 3D character meshing.
That's fair. Also, I'm just like fucking around with dropping.
Physics.
Yeah, I'm dropping. I'm trying to remember. Yes, the passive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boof. No, Suzanne!
Explode. Make it explode.
Suzanne just gone.
Oh no.
Poof.
Falling off. It's like that Kirby gif.
Let me make a bunch of Suzannes. Let's see how that goes.
Suzanne.
Farewell. They return to their planet.
There they go.
Yep. But yes, okay, cool. Blender, modeling. All right, cool. I guess should we just like start from the absolute basics and go from there, or how would you prefer
Yes.
to?
So I basically sent you a list of stuff I want to try and model.
Yes.
Based on how familiar I am with some aspects. So, for example, like vertices, edges, faces.
You understand what those
and,
are?
Yeah. And I have a basic understanding of like the keys and things. It's
Okay.
just that I want to be able to make
You mean
an
keyframes?
object and make it look nice rather than really beginnery. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I get you.
Yeah.
Okay, so first let's talk a little bit, I think, about modeling theory. Okay, so you know what quads are?
Quads. That refers to the sort of like the alignment thing here, right? So X, Y, Z.
No. Okay,
No.
so quads. Okay, so I'm talking about polygons, right? So all 3D models are made out of polygons. Polygons can have any number of sides. So usually when we're working with polygons, you're usually working with tris, or quads. Okay, so tris are polygons with 3 sides, which is like it's a triangle. So it's the least amount of sides you can possibly have for a polygon, because any less than it's an edge. And a polygon is and a quad is a polygon with 4 sides.
Yes.
Okay. Any more than that, we call that an n-gon, because after that it's like 5 sides, 6 sides. It starts getting messy, and they don't really work very well for modeling. And the reason why you see like models and they're always either tris or quads is because those are the easiest. Those are like the easiest polygons to manipulate, right? So yeah, if you think about a quad is basically just 2 tris. So most any square or rectangle is just 2 triangles put together, right? So when you have like a render engine, usually what they're doing, at least in game engines, what they're doing is they're breaking down quads into triangles to render, and that makes sense because like all quads can be broken down into triangles. If there's like a graphic engineer that watches this, they're probably going to tell me like how wrong I am, but like that's like the easiest way to like vaguely understand how people how and why people want to work with quads. And the good thing about quads is that you can create you can have what's known as sort of like the loops with them. So you know what a loop cut or loop select is in Blender, right?
Is that the lasso tool?
No.
Select vertex.
No. Okay. So all right. So okay, let's do this. Let me do an exercise. So let's say I extrude this. So I've got like a line of polygons here, right? So I've got like a boxy thing here. And I want to manipulate, say, all of these at once, right? I can do this by just like selecting them individually. Or I can select what's known as a loop. And it selects all of them in a loop. And that works because it's going along the line of quads, because a rectangle has a flow, right? It either goes the rectangles have 2 directions you can possibly select in. It's either this direction or this direction, right? This direction. So you can so this is like very fundamental to like learning how to be able to work effectively with 3D models, because like once you start, for example, if I cut this here, no, that didn't cut effectively. Let's say I cut this irregularly. So now this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges, and is now an n-gon. And now if you loop select, you can no longer select a loop. It doesn't work, like, because it doesn't know where you the program can't tell where you actually want to flow. So
So it's
that's
confused. Yeah.
yeah, so it's very confused. So like that's why we want to work with quads, because quads can be organized into loops. So there's that's what how loop cuts and loop selects are useful. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah. So it's would it be double click
Alt
my C?
Alt left click, at least for me,
Alt
because
left click.
because I'm using the old version of the old hotkeys, because I'm old and I started using
Uh,
Blender before like they introduced like the new hotkeys. So I'm still using old hotkeys. So I don't know if it's exactly the same, but this is how I remember it being. So yeah, is if you out for
alt.
me out click and it'll select the cuts, the loops based on which edges of the polygon you're clicking on. Does that work for you?
Radio. It
Ye-
does not work for me. No. So I'm pressing alt and then I'm pressing left
hold
click,
hold hold out.
holding alt and then left click. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
working.
it's not working. Okay, I guess they probably changed the hotkeys. So
Yeah.
blend. Let's Google that.
Let's do a quick blend on the hotkey. Quick blender search on the hotkeys. So yeah, just to clarify, so selecting a loop is one of the more basic modeling selections.
Yes, and like this, you can see why it can be useful as you start thinking about like if everything is built with quads. So, for example, if you have like an arm, right, and an arm is basically just like basically what I have here, but like nicer. It is just like a shape made out of a bunch of quads. Then you can select a part of the arm and sort of like just like manipulate it like this,
Um,
right? So everything starts to become much easier to work with and manipulate as you sort of just like understand how to work with it. And you can cut new loops by a loop cut. So like this, you can start like dividing that mesh up really easily.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically just like enabling people to work better with it. And once everything is done, they can be subdivided really easily into a bunch of triangles, which are the most basic polygon, and you render with that, basically. Uh, and if you think about stuff in terms of animation as well, it's actually also very useful, because if you have n-gons, having proper, well, actually that's maybe a different thing, but also like because triangles and tris and quads are the most simple possible geometry, uh, you don't get as many shading artifacts with them. Because with like n-gons, right, you have like irregular amounts of edges and all around a place. You can sort of like make weird shapes that aren't physically possible. So just to demonstrate, let's make a plane here. Let's cut this plane up so it's got like a regular amount of edges.
Yep. Just to clarify, that cutting tool adds
That's a knife tool. It's K.
slide.
So it's just like so like it's selecting. So you see like where I have like a line,
Mm,
it just cuts based on that.
okay.
Yeah, and then now these are new faces. All right, so now this face has a bunch of different vertices and edges, and you can do weird shit that's not physically possible. So like, let's say I move this down here, and like, how is this a face? This is not like a physical face that can happen, right? This is a polygon, but also the geometry is broken. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot physically have one face that is like this. This cannot possibly happen with a quad or a triangle, right? So like if a rendering engine starts encountering weird problems like this, that's supposed to be a 2D plane, but it's not a 2D plane, it's gonna start getting weird shading artifacts.
It's
Uh,
gonna be like, what's going on?
exactly.
What's going on?
It doesn't render properly. So that's why you almost always want to work with only quads or triangles. It doesn't matter as much if you have like a static mesh that you don't intend to animate, and you make sure you just make it harder for yourself to work with, basically. Essentially, you always want to work with that. And having these loops will also ensure that you have good modeling practices for good, what do we call good polygon flow, I think, for your model.
Polygon flow. Yeah, polygon flow is what I'm majorly concerned about. Because I think you might remember I sent you an example of what I
Yes.
was working on earlier this week, and although like at the time, like the result was cute at the end of the day,
Yep.
it was clearly like a beginner's thing where, you know, stuff was happening with the vertices and the polygons, and the polygon flow was just not there because I had no idea what I was
Yes.
doing on that front.
Okay, so usually what's most important for the polygon flow is what the model is meant for. Like I said, right? If you have like a static model, like a background rock or something, having polygon flow does not matter at all. Like, because it's not going to move. As long as it doesn't have any shading artifacts, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. But if you need to animate a character, that's when this stuff starts to matter, right? So imagine that this tube we made is an arm, right?
Yes.
If you want it to bend, you want it to be able to, you want the flow to move along the arm like this. So when it bends, it doesn't like create like weird artifacts. So
Yeah.
let's say, I mean, this is not how it's supposed to be, but like, you know, where you twist it, like the other loops around it twist along with it and work with the flow. So you need to know how the object you are is going to be, how the object will move in order to have like know what flow you want to have with it. So let me look up sort of like what a face looks like. Face.
Before we go too far, maybe it's best checking out that hotkey. What it would be for me, the one that you wanted to show me earlier, the one that was alt click for you but wasn't for me.
It said
Just get it up.
it said it was loop select hotkey. The Blender manual still says is alt left click.
Alt left.
Is it not alt left click for you?
I'm just currently double checking. Yeah, I'm on the select box tool as well.
The box. You're not.
I'm on the select box tool.
Don't use the box. Use individual. Wait. Select mode.
Yeah. Hang on. I think I see what's wrong. Give me two
Are you in the drag? Are you in the dragging? Are you in the drag select?
No, I'm in the select box tool. So the same one that you're currently selected on in the top left-hand corner.
Oh, that's faces. That's face select.
Yeah, that's faces there. Does it need to be face selected before doing that?
No. So?
Does it need to be vertex select?
No. Vertex doesn't work because vertex doesn't have loops. You can do it in edge or face, I believe. Yeah, you can do it with edges, you can do it with faces. So you see, I can also select this entire loop of edges. I don't think it works with vertices.
Hang on.
Actually, no, it does work with vertices, but it's just the same as an edge, I guess.
I'm gonna give myself like a little string of cubes.
How about you open up your actual input, your key map, and search for it.
Yes, of course. And key map is just in the system.
Go to file. No, edit preferences, key map.
Edit preferences, key map. Alright, here we go. Yep, select the mouse button left.
Yeah, search for loop. And it should be loop select and loop cut and slide.
There we go. It's Control R for some reason.
Huh.
Huh.
Well, no, Control R is loop cut.
Loop cut and slide is Control R.
Yes, that's
Loop
cut.
select.
That's cutting a new loop. That's not selection. What's selection?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it should be out then.
Oh, there's an option for Shift Alt.
No, shift out is selecting a new loop. So like, it's selecting more loops.
There we go. So basically, I figured out what I did. I didn't make myself a really nice string of polygons for me to practice on.
So you didn't have a loop to
I
select.
just had the cube. I'm sorry.
No, cubes have loops too.
Yeah, but like it was just one cube.
Okay. But it still works. But you see, like if I select it, you can have like that ring around it.
There we go.
Yeah, that works.
Yes. There we go. We're working.
Yeah, it
Doing
works. Cool, cool, cool,
I'm gonna actually share my screen with you just to be sure,
cool. Okay.
so that you can see what I'm doing, because we're both clearly very visual. We're visual people. So here we are. We got my little screen, little bits of cubes.
Some bits and bobs.
There we go. That's selected. Expanding. Is now
Give me a sec.
funnel.
Take a look. Give me a sec.
Just playing around, just being a little silly.
I have to like go from my stream to your screen share. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Very tempted to make a fish out of this shit.
You could.
That's
You definitely could.
Good. Yeah, but we have plans on what to make today.
Yes. But yes, that's basic modeling theory, and that's why you always want to work with quads or tries. And end guns, stay away from end guns because end guns are dangerous.
So keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yes, keep it as simple as you can. And yes, let me bring back up what a face geometry looks like. So this will demonstrate what I mean by like the good geometry flow. It depends on what you're actually doing with the model. Because if you look at these faces, right, you can see that it's just not just like a fucking it's not just like a series of loop cuts that is just, you know, building up the geometry of a face. Like you can see these loops are actually going around the shapes of like the facial features, right? So like you can see like rings radiating out, rings of loops radiating out from the eye. You can see like rings of loops radiating out from the face, out from the ear. And that's because those are the parts of a face you need to animate and that you need to like stretch and move around. And those are the parts that you don't want to deform awkwardly. So that's why you need loops around those like deformation points, to make sure that these loops can interact well with the other loops around them and not cause any visual artifacts.
You don't want to cause any visual artifact. And you can kind of see from the amount of polygon flow around certain areas, like some bits are just like
more dense.
For example, the edge of the jaw, and then you got, for example, the edge of the nostril. That's really flexible.
Yep, and that's like it's sort of like a little bit of an art to try and see like where you want to link up those loops. You will definitely get like some geometry that's not perfect unless you're such a good like hard surface modeler or like a retopology artist that you can just be like, oh, I'm plan it all out so all the loops line up into each other. But most of the time that's not going to happen, and for us it's not actually that important. As long as it generally works, it's probably be okay. It's not that big a deal. But that's also, so for example, you can see how like the in this model, the loops are linking up and being stitched up here, and that breaks the loop. But as long as the loops around the main deformation points are alright, you will be fine.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Cool.
that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. And these days, most of the time, people will very rarely be modeling these like complex characters from absolute scratch. Either you're going to be like working with an existing model and just borrowing basically that geometry and rig to work with what you have, or you will probably be just sculpting from scratch and retopologizing, which basically means you're building new geometry on top of the geometry you already made to make the geometry flow good.
Yes, so it's basically just having a good practice.
Yes, it's good practice,
like,
and
yeah.
knowing this is basically understanding why things are good and why things are bad, basically. Cool.
Yeah.
All makes sense?
So shall we? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
Shall we jump into the first thing on the list?
Cool. Actually, I was going to do a hand first because that will help me demonstrate some basics of like just starting to do like hard surface modeling. So, just quickly to like preface. So, there's a few different. I sort of like categorize modeling into like a few different forms. So there's
Yes.
hard surface modeling, which is like just building stuff from polygons, as we have been doing so far. There's sculpting, which is using a sculpting tool to sort of like massage and sculpt things into shape. And then there's also Boolean modeling, which is using subtractive modeling. Do you know what Booleans are?
No, I do not. I don't
Okay,
actually
let me
know.
show you. So,
How would you spell it?
Boolean. So, as
Boolean.
far as I understand, a Boolean is essentially just a yes or no operation. So, what that means in 3D is like basically you're cutting objects out with other objects. So, for example, if I have a Boolean modifier in this, and I select this other cube, and I make this cube invisible to demonstrate. So you see, I'm cutting out that cube with that other cube to create a new shape.
I see. So this would kind of be, for example, this technique right here using the cubes would be used for like rooms or environments.
You can, yeah. So like, it can get a lot more complex in this. So for example, if you're doing a mech, you want a bunch of holes. You can just like here make a bunch of cylinders and use those to punch holes into the object.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's called a Boolean because like it's calculating. It's like, is this where the object is? Yes. Then it should be gone. Or you can. There are different operations for this. This is like cutting out. You can also make union, so joining those two objects together. Or you can intersect, which is like only where those objects join together. It's just like basically like detecting shapes interacting with other shapes, and you're using different things. Depends on what you need.
I see.
Cool.
So it's kind of a way to kind of build up on pre-existing polygons, basically.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, so you've got hard surface, you've got sculpting, you've got Boolean modeling, and you've also got kit bashing, which is just getting pre-existing 3D models and smashing them together to make a new thing.
I think we're both quite familiar with that term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense, but
But it get better.
yeah, I mean it applies in Warhammer, it applies in 3D. So yeah, okay, cool. So let's do a little bit of hard surface modeling here today.
Yes.
Uh,
So where shall we start?
I think I want to do the hand, right? So
Yes.
in order, just like any other kind of art, you want to be able to have good reference. So an easy way to do that is to just import your reference directly into Blender. In this case, I'm going to go import. I was giving a bit of time to load. I'm good.
Quick question as well. Could you possibly send me the image you're using so I can also apply it?
Oh, sure, of course. Give me a sec. Is it going to the wrong place on my... Give me a sec. It's taking a hot moment to load. Okay, there you go. Okay. Images, hand on flat surface. Okay. So, you want to bring an image into Blender. Do you know how to import images into Blender?
I did it during my tutorial, but I would like a refresher, if that would be alright.
Yeah, sure, of course. You can do it manually, of course, or you can just use the add-on for importing images. Do you have it installed?
I don't believe I do, so I'll do it manually for now.
Okay, no. I'll teach you how to do it because it is built in actually. So go into preferences, go into your add-ons.
Yep, so that would be edit preferences.
Yep, edit preferences, add-ons, and just search for image in your list of add-ons. It comes with Blender.
Import export.
Yeah, yep. Import images as planes.
Perfect. And once I tick that, I don't have to confirm anything. I can just apply it straight away.
Yep. So all you have to do now is go to File, Import Images and Planes, select it, and then bring it into your Blender file.
Yep, perfect.
Gorgeous.
So file, import images as planes.
Mm-hmm.
Then we would like
Cool.
Surface, import images plane.
You got it?
Yep, I got it.
Cool. So let's start with just doing a hand, right? The easiest way of starting to do hard surface modeling is basically to just do a 2D version of it and then pull it into 3D. So that's what we're going to start doing today. This is like the most primitive form of like modeling, essentially. So what I did is I added a plane for us to have geometry to work with, and then I lock ourselves into the top orthographic view, which means we will only be working with the x-axis and the y-axis. No need to worry about anything else. It's like we don't need to worry about depth, we don't need to worry about anything else. All we need to worry about is getting the shapes correct. Cool?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Just one last thing. It seems that the hand itself is not showing up on the plane. Would that be...
Turn yourself to, are you on, is your viewport shading in solid mode?
It probably is. Let me just...
Go to, do you see these material, you see these icons up here that I'm selecting?
Yes.
This is solid
there
mode.
we go.
Go to shader, the shader's material preview.
Yeah,
Then you
so
should be able to see it.
just
Because
take a little bit to load. Yep, all good now.
because it's basically a material.
Yeah, it's a little material.
Yep. So now let's do modeling, right? So so we've got this hand here. What you want to think about is how you want to recreate the shape of the hand with nice polygon flows. So ideally we want to have each loop here, each finger be a single loop, right? So that's why I did. So I'm matching up that side with this side.
And are you using the plane mesh for that?
Yeah, I just made like a plane.
Okay.
Cool.
Sure. Gonna add that, and that would be.
And then I can just start extruding out those faces and sort of moving those things into the shape of the finger. So this is really easy for you to just like get the general shape of the hand correct first before you even worry about doing anything else.
So just backtracking real quick.
Yeah.
How did you get the How did you get that shape initially onto the hand? So you're obviously using the hand as sort of like a tracing thing.
Yep. So
But
first I
how did you
just...
get the initial shape down?
Oh no, it crashed. Okay. I undid too many times too fast. It's fine. We'll bring it back. I can do it again. Let me bring it back first. Give me a sec.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Cool. So first I rotate it to get it the right angle. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a plane. Scale it down so it's just slightly bigger. Okay, so I go into edit mode.
And that would be Shift A, plane, and then scale it down, slightly bigger.
Yep. Bring it into edit mode.
Yep, bringing it to edit mode.
Then you can just start selecting these vertexes and sort of putting them into the correct shape.
Ah, I see.
You see?
So you kinda-
It's very easy. It's literally just like selecting and dragging them around.
Yes, I see.
Cool.
So we want that.
And now you can start selecting those edges and extruding them. And just building them into the shape you want.
I see. And you're also, it looks like from the way you're placing the vertices over the hand, you're really considering the you're considering like the movement of the hand itself.
Yes.
The polygon flow.
Yes.
Very nice.
I mean, that's ideal. You don't really have to if you're not gonna move it much. But you know,
It
this
is
is
a good idea.
it's good practice. It's good practice.
Yeah.
It's best practices, and that's what we should preach, even though we don't always do it ourselves.
Yeah. I would say it's probably like the same sort of applications as like shading. Like when you get good practice with shading, then a lot of your work just looks really good naturally.
Essentially, yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot like that, I reckon.
Yep. So we're just like sort of roughly blocking it out. So we have like the thumb here, and it's working with those proportions we have, and that just keeps. Let's just keep going and doing that for the rest of the hand. Let's just
Alrighty.
build
So
that
we're now
out,
just tracing. Yeah.
and let's make sure that we have like a even flow of those up to where the fingers start, so they can start at the same loop about
Yes.
here. Yeah, and then we can worry about like make it actually work later. So now we can start doing loop cuts and matching those to roughly where the fingers would start. So you can sort of see me just blocking out where those fingers would start.
Yes.
And now I can extrude that out and have those fingers. This is like obviously the most primitive way of like modeling. Normally I would just be like, yeah, screw it, I'm just gonna sculpt it, you know? There's no reason to like to make it this careful.
But it is important to get the
Yes, the absolute basics to understand how things work before you start to go crazy about it.
Yes. So, quick question as well. So getting the lines down and across the plane, so following the y-axis, how did you add those extra lines? Those extra edges?
The loops,
Yes. So
that's a loop cut and slide. So Control R.
Yep.
And you can see like that it'll start like trying to tell you where the loops are before you cut. Once you want to cut, you click left click, and then you can drag it around inside the loop before it cuts. And if you want to cancel, if you want to cancel, press right click.
Very nice. So cancel is right.
Yeah, for everything that's like being previewed and you can't, it's not actually applied to your mesh yet. You can always is usually like left click to confirm and right click to cancel.
That is really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
quite easy. Yeah.
it's very handy. Ha! You see?
Handy. Haha. Okay, so we got that. And right, I'm just gonna quickly do some more extruding.
Yep. So you just like sort of roughly massage it into the shape of your hand.
Yes. So we got that. We got that.
Then I'm just gonna quickly rough out that. Oop, nope. Wrong command. Just go quick.
Laugh, you did the wrong command. Everyone laugh.
No, I selected too many edges,
Oh.
which is fine. Yeah, and then I'm gonna extrude that out to get the arm correct. And this is basically so super easy because like all you don't have to worry about like the entire like 3D form. All you have to worry about is like getting the silhouette from one side correct.
Yeah, and I suppose basically all you do is just sort of extrude it a little bit at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like right at the end.
You see what I did here?
Yes, I do see.
Cool. Ideally,
Still extruding because I'm just not really that used to it.
that's fine. No worries.
Yes, you may take a quick break for yourself, a quick breather, while I extrude more fingers.
I am going to drop more Suzanne's then. I love that Blender just has like monkey as like a generic mesh they can add.
Yeah, what's the reason behind that, or is it?
It's like a mascot thing, I think. I don't know. It's just like, oh, we start doing it and now she's always there.
And now we can't stop.
And now we can't stop because people expect the monkey, you know? You can't not have the monkey after you already had the monkey.
Exactly.
Ooh, the hand caught. Wait, let's see how many Suzannes stay on the monkey. Oh, lost another one. No, it's losing another one. Okay, it kept two. But maybe if I set the simulation to like last longer, it might. Maybe more of them will. Maybe they might fall off.
They might. They might not.
We definitely lost that one. Did those Suzanne stay? Those Suzanne stay. So yeah, a hand can wait, and one of them glitched out onto the bottom. I guess.
Yeah.
So technically, the hand cut free. And you can animate this as well, I guess, if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be quite fun. So it'd just be sort of introducing a mesh and then introducing thingy. Right, so I am going to quickly. So I'm at the wrist point now.
Yep.
Mind if I have a quick look at the wrist loops?
Here, it's just as basic as it gets.
Okay.
Literally, just like drag it out. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I see what you did. Yeah, no worries.
Like, I bet an actual character artist is probably having fits at this right now.
Yeah, I mean, what can they do? They're not here right now.
Exactly. And if they were,
Do anything.
yeah, and if they were, they can't do anything about it because I'm online and they're not.
Imagine not being online.
Ew, disgusting.
Alright, so there's my little hand. The wrist is a bit thin.
Yep.
That's alright.
Okay. But yeah, let's just start subdividing this to get some of the details. So let's start cutting up this mesh. What I usually do is like I look at like the you can just use like a subdivision, like you can literally just like subdivide it like this, but this will not be great for what we have right now because what it'll do is it'll cut up all the geometry in your hand and cut it up even more, right? And we don't want to do that because we have these small loops that we made previously to get like the hand to get those fingers out. What I usually think of this is like I'm trying to like make sure that I make the polygons are relatively equal in size. So I'm just gonna cut it up here like with loop cuts, and sort of like cut it into like about relatively equal squares.
Okay, so we're sort of slicing it a bit further.
Yeah, so we can get a little bit more detail.
I see.
It doesn't have to be precise, really. Like, because we're not, like... Realistically, you'll be, like, doing topology later. And also, I'm not teaching you, like... This, I mean, we're not being, like, super precious about this, right? So it's fine.
Yeah, this is just learning the basics, learning the hotkeys, that kind of thing.
Yep. So I'm just gonna quickly slice this up. Cool. Now my model is sliced up into like a bunch of mostly equal polygons. How's it going on your end?
I think I'm still streaming my end, but you can.
Oh, I can take a look. Yeah, that's correct. Oh wait, did it stop? Actually.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, your stream stopped. So I was kind of following your YouTube.
Yeah. So you're a little bit behind, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's back down.
Yes. I shall switch.
But yeah, you want to turn your stream back on so I can take a look?
Oh yes. Sorry about that. Share that. There we go.
Cool. Yeah, just like roughly cut up like the wrist as well. It doesn't really super matter, but might as well do it while we're here.
Yeah. True.
So what I would usually do next is just start because now we have a lot more geometry detail, right? Do you know what proportional editing is?
I do not know what proportional editing is. Please give me the enlightenment.
Cool.
Proportional editing.
Do you want me to wait for you to finish cutting it up first?
Yeah. Let me finish cutting this cake, and I'll be there in a second.
What happened to? Never mind. I think it's just artifact from the stream. It's fine.
Yeah.
By the way, oh yes, when you're loop cutting, scroll up. Scroll up and down. No, go back. Undo.
Okay.
Scroll up. No, when you're okay. So let me demonstrate. Look at what I'm doing. Okay, so I have a cube. I go here and I activate a loop cut. Right, so it's got a loop here. So I've selected this loop. Before I click left click, I can scroll up and it'll add a bunch of loops. So you can so you can cut it multiple times instead of just once.
I was wondering how you were doing it so fast.
Yeah.
I was like,
There you go.
Oh,
Magic.
yes.
Much better.
It's also like way more even as well. Look at that. Well, we'll stick with the slightly jank.
It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
Cool. Alright, so now let's use proportional editing. So first let me demonstrate what the hell proportional editing actually is.
Exciting.
With, let's see, sphere, I think. Okay, cool. Okay, so first, this is proportional editing. Do you see like up here with like global, blah, 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 all of these? At the end here this is the proportional editing on and off. Do you see what I'm toggling?
Yeah. So little bullseye.
Yes. And then next to it is sort of like the shape of proportional editing. So these are like all the different things you can do with it. So just to quickly demonstrate what the hell proportional editing actually is. So let me select this vertex. And then when I drag it out, oh wait, it's off. So turn it on, drag it out. You can see I have like a ball around it.
Yes.
And it's also affecting the polygons. It's also affecting the vertexes next to it. And then I can, by scrolling up and down, I can determine how much influence that movement has. So you can see if I did this, but if I scroll it up, it's going to make it smaller. If I scroll it out, it's going to like affect more. And then the shape, basically, and then the shape of it is like basically the fall off. So if I select it sharp, it's going to be much sharper than like the smooth one. If I use the sphere fall off, then it's going to like move everything in sort of like a more even spherical, the sort of like spherical movement. So basically, it's just a way of like it's really good for doing like organic shapes and stuff. So like when you're editing, like, oh, I want to like pull multiple objects together. That's what you do. You don't have to select a bunch of different objects. You just select one, and then you use the proportional editing to like drag things around.
It looks like it's very good for like more natural, like rounded shapes as well.
Exactly. And that is what we want here right now. So we have a hand, and so we can activate proportional editing, activate smooth, and then just start selecting vertexes and dragging those shapes into the correct spots.
Okay. So if we go in.
Yep. I'm gonna. By the way, I'm just quickly gonna add like a material. Make my hand semi-transparent so I can see through it. Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't. So, what did you do? You changed the surface color.
Give me a
shadow
sec.
mode. Okay.
So I added a new material. It's not doing it right now, I think, but why is it not doing it? Oh, it is working. Yeah, it is working, actually. Okay.
Oh.
Let me see if I can add a little bit of extra light so things are lighter than they are right now. Why is this sun attached to my hand? I guess it doesn't really matter, but I have no idea why it's doing that. But yes.
Yeah, mine, looks like mine's doing a different one.
Okay, so just like go down to like blend mode, put in alpha, the settings, go to alpha blend and alpha hashed.
Okay, so let's see. So.
And then you can just sort of turn down the alpha to make it more transparent.
So that's the that's
transparency.
That's a little spanner tab. Transparency.
Yep.
Object properties. Transparency.
Yep. So you can sort of see the hand through the thing.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Visibility? No, not visibility. Viewport display? No. So it is in the object properties tab, right?
For what? Where-
The properties tab that you're showing here that allows me to.
This is the material properties tab.
Material properties. Okay, there was modify properties, path properties, physics properties, constraint, data, material properties. There we go.
Yep.
So let me just put a new one there.
So I'm just gonna like
There we go.
you just
Found it.
use proportional editing to just drag everything into shape.
Now where is transparency? Subsurface radiant, transmission.
Just ignore most of that. If we you don't know much about the shading, do you?
No, I don't. But where's the transparency thing?
Alpha
In
at the bottom.
Oh, right at the bottom.
Scroll at the bottom. No, not right, but it's like above like the normal inputs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha. Oh yeah, found it.
There you go.
Yeah. Like that a little bit. Very cool. There we go. Alright, so now we can do proportional editing.
And just like gently massage those vertexes into shape.
Yes. And so basically you turn on the thing and then you just press the G button, or is the G button specifically for
G is for grab. G is specifically for grab. Also, by the way, the proportional editing hotkey should be O, I believe.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, there we go.
Toggles on and off. You got it.
Huh. Some reason it only is like dragging the whole thing, like the whole plane with me.
Well, because you're in vertex editing mode right now, you're not supposed to be editing the entire all the planes. Do you want to edit entire all the planes?
No.
Yeah,
I want to do the little swishy thing that you're doing.
the vertexes.
Vertex.
Yeah, and I'm also going to like quickly think a little bit about how the finger should flow. So I'm going to like trying to like arrange those edges to sort of become a little bit more sort of circular around the ring where the fingers start. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. God, I've done a messy wessy. I have accidentally disabled my header.
Your header?
Very cool. Yeah, where the global, like the tabs are, like at the top. So, edit and render is still there, but like the stuff that indicates that I'm using proportional editing and global is. Do you know how to turn them back on?
No, because I don't turn them off.
I accidentally turned it off. I don't even know how I did it. Hang on.
Yeah, the mysteries of Blender hotkeys is internal struggle. It's fine. It happens sometimes. Sometimes like sometimes it's generally faster for me to literally just like reopen Blender.
Toggles the visibility. Clicking or dragging the small arrow that appears at the top bottom right of the editor. Okay. Top bottom right.
I have no idea what
There
you
we
did.
go. It's literally just like click the little arrow up here and then you drag it down.
Magic! It's actually magic.
I learned something new, and so did you.
I mean,
Right,
I'm going to
so-
forget immediately because I never do this.
We are in proportional editing mode, and we would like to smush.
Yes. Smushing is good.
What is the button for smush?
Grab.
Smushing it.
Just grab and put things into shape. Pretty much.
Yeah, it looks like.
I mean, this is a little bit tedious, but like I said, this is like the most basic form of modeling, so it is
Yeah,
it
I
is
think-
going to be a little bit tedious.
I think something's a little bit messy with mine. If you want to have a quick look at my screen.
Okay, sure. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
What's up?
So, keep in mind, I've got proportional editing up here.
Yep.
For smooth. Click. Grab.
Oh, scroll up and down. Your sphere of influence is too large right now. That's how you collect. That's how you control how large that sphere is. Scroll way down. You can See,
There
you
we
see, it was huge earlier. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's why
I was wondering where it was. I was like, where'd the circle gone? Where's it gone?
you made it way
Where'd
too
it go?
big.
Very funny. Extremely funny.
Absolutely hilarious.
This is why we learning.
Yeah, it's fine. You gotta make these mistakes so you know not to make them in the future, right? That's how
Exactly.
learning works. As they say in Chinese, failure is the mother of success.
It is true. Very wise.
Which is also a way to make fucking failures feel better, but also, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Makes people. I'm very mad I didn't jump on the Blender train earlier on. I don't know. It's like when you're given the opportunity to learn something.
Oh, trust me, like, even today, art students are fucking terrified of 3D. I keep telling them to get good, and this is like, if you want to be a concept artist, this is essential. And then they're like, but I don't want to. I'm scared.
That those artists and me.
Yes, it is absolutely normal and is not. You should feel a little bit bad about it, but not too bad.
Yeah, like it's good to know,
It's,
and I'm living proof of that. Like
and you
2 years later,
don't.
I'm like, actually, I should know.
Yeah, it's not that. It's not often like immediate knowledge, especially if you're learning the fundamentals, right? Like you. It's probably better for you to like learn those fundamentals before jumping into 3D, because like if you jump into 3D too early, you run the risk of just being like, oh, 3D can do it. I'm not going to learn the fundamentals because I don't have to. But you do have to,
Exactly.
because you're still applying them to your art. You're just like, yes, like 3D can cheat perspective for you, but if you don't know what good perspective looks like, how are you supposed to like actually create effective like art environments? You know?
Yeah, I think that is something that quite a lot of like art teachers fall into as well. Just trying to get the students to like know how to do like industry standard stuff rather than knowing fundamentals.
It's learning. It's like
Yeah,
learning technique before you learn the basics. It's like that's not the right way to go about it. You learn the basics and then you learn techniques to make it easier. So you understand why those techniques exist and how to use them.
yeah, and then like you end up creating something more appealing overall just because you have the
Yeah.
knowledge of how it works.
At least until the AI overlords take over. But yes.
Oh god, don't even get me started on that, bro. Oh.
Hey, at least I learned. I know how to use AI better than the people who don't fucking understand art.
Yeah, the thing is, like I really like AI and and the way it can like assist
It's
in ways.
useful. It's a useful tool.
It is useful. I'm just really mad that it gives like idiots,
Absolute chuds.
absolute chuds, like the idea that oh I can like
I
completely
could
cut out.
I could do art. No, you fucking can't. You don't even understand how to critique art.
It's not even that. It's also from like a management and like job opportunity perspective. Like
Sure.
the idea that they can like sort of take away.
Oh, there.
Those,
Yeah, but like actual industries know that it doesn't fucking work because they still need actual good products.
yeah, but then you get like the one guy, the smaller company that has a graphic, has a graphic designer for their materials, and they're like, actually, we can save money by
Yeah,
just
fuck.
using AI.
At that point,
It's
fuck that. Might as well just start your own company. If you're working at that small scale, just do your own thing. You know.
yeah, like I think that's where freelance is gonna really pop off. I reckon.
We'll see. What I feel like is with those like tools becoming much easier to access and understand. I
Yeah.
think you'll see a lot more smaller teams and small indie studios and stuff,
Mm.
because they'll be able to like do more work faster with like those tools.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm just also a bit worried about like the level of entry for art because now you'll have to compete with something that can technically do your job faster and more efficiently,
Sure.
but at the cost of needing to do tweaks and stuff like that.
I mean, makes sense. That's
Yeah.
that's a fair fear, I guess. I don't blame you for
Yeah.
that one.
guess that part of that is also why I'm very interested in the idea of getting a properly paying job. Rather than just doing freelance the whole time.
Yeah, sure.
Theoretically, it's just that.
But also the bar of entry for like being in the industry is also really high, and it makes sense if you don't want to like jump in right away without a safety net.
Exactly. But yeah, how are we looking on my little fingers here?
I'm taking a look. Yeah, I mean that seems mostly correct.
Yeah, I went a bit off piece with the pinky, but I kind of wanted it to be a bit more straight. So
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. But basically, the reason why I was saying make a geometry and polygons relatively even is because so we can subdivide it, right? So now if you select all with A,
select all with A.
use subdivide.
Subdivide and that's
Control Y. Control Y.
Control E. Okay.
Control Y.
Control E.
Go down to subdivide. Nope.
Hang on. Control E. Subdivide. Yeah, there we go. Oh.
And then you see that little operator menu on the bottom left.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
subdivide, open up. You can like number of cuts. You can tell it to make more cuts or less cuts.
Ooh.
But the reason why you want to keep your geometry relatively equal is so when you subdivide and cut your object up, you don't suddenly get like weird amounts of like polygons in one place and not in another. You know?
Yeah. For example, like here, compared to like here.
Yeah. So it's like it's relatively equal. I mean, we don't need to worry too much about this.
Okay,
I think. Because next, I think we might do a little bit of sculpting.
Ooh.
Just like sort of, just to learn that. I'm not going to subdivide it yet. I'm not going to subdivide mine just yet. I'm going to like do. I will keep it relatively like this because it is like pretty much there. It's got most of the shapes. I'm gonna get rid of this material now because I don't no longer need it to be transparent. Because we are no longer tracing this hand. We can delete that. We have gotten our usage out of the hand. And now we need
we have to pass the need for hand.
Well, one of them. We still need a nut. We still will probably want another hand for reference.
Yes.
So
quick question. As a quick fun little thing.
Yep.
Can I spawn a Suzanne onto that?
Yeah, you can.
Fun. So that would be Mish,
Monkey. Yep.
Monkey. And just out of interest, how did you
Do the simulation? Oh, duplicate. Alternate D.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Drag.
Okay. There we go. And simulation.
You want to do the physics simulation as well?
I would love to do physics simulation.
Okay, so actually delete all the delete all the monkey heads for now, because we don't want to have to do this for no, they're technically no, you don't have to actually. They should still be linked. Select one monkey head and then go into your sidebar and look for physics properties. It should be, yes, I think it's that one. No, up above.
There
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, physics properties. Add a rigid body.
Rigid body.
So yeah, active is correct, and then select your hand. Same thing, rigid body,
Rigid body.
but select active instead of active. It should be passive,
Passive. Okay.
and then just press play. Oh, okay. Well, that didn't work for the rest of them because they're not applied to the rest of them. So that was why I say you should have applied it before you duplicated them.
So, what if I just simply did rigid
No, I think that should only work. That would only work on the active object. So just delete all the extra ones. Go into your object outliner. Select Suzanne 001 to 0. No. Only 001 to 007.
Yep.
Delete.
Yep.
And then give the original Suzanne the yep. And then just duplicate that Suzanne.
Give her okay.
And then just duplicate this Suzanne. Then they should all have the physics properties.
Right. Let's give this
Play. There you go.
They exploded.
Magic.
Very good. Thank you very much. That was very nice.
Yeah, property. Cool. Physics!
There we go. Right, so now we're back at hand time. This is now officially hand time still.
Technically, yes.
Can you send me over that image, my dude?
Sure. Give me a moment. Oh yeah, I'm just literally just Googling these. It doesn't... It's a hand, yeah? It's like everybody's got one.
That's for... I'm just look at my hand for the whole time but it's also good to just make sure I'm following, you know...
Fair.
Keeping it clean, keeping it good.
That's fine.
So we would like to import images as planes. Download.
So this is why where turnarounds are handy, right? So if you get a turnaround sheet from like a concept artist, if you're a 3D modeler, you can just like have like you can trace it from one side and then you bring in the other image of like the other side and basically just trace that as well and basically start making a 3D mesh from there. Oh, hi, Scorder. You tried making a hand in Blender for a whole week and still failed. It's not as easy as it seems, right? You're not just like making something and it magically works. I guess you still need to like understand like how you use reference and how you really and have like a good understanding of like shapes and art to be able to like get a form working. It takes practice. It's not that easy, so it's fine. It happens.
Yeah, like I remember like I was doing my cute little frog tutorial and that ended up being I went really off piece like halfway through it because I was like, I'm bored now. I want to do the thing, and because no one was like watching me do it, I was like, oh, gonna get a little silly.
Yep. So what I did was just I extruded this entire hand shape to give it a little bit more, to give it some volume and make it into actual 3D object.
Yes.
This is just like
So,
this is just a hand tutorial now.
Was that just one big extrude? Or
Yeah, it's just one big extrude.
Very nice. One big extrude.
By the way, you don't have to keep looking through like the material properties. They're not. We're not working with them right now, so it's fine.
Right. So we would like to extrude on the z-axis.
Yep.
There we go.
There you go. You've got volume. So I think we can start doing a little bit of sculpting now, right? So yes, we can do this like the old-fashioned way, right? We can go in and like do like we can do what we did before and do like a proportional. We can do like, let's see, proportional edit. We can like try and like let's do like make a palm here, you know, like try to like drag this into like 3D, but we don't have to. We have sculpting. We have better tools for that. So let's make sure we have enough geometry to work with. I'm just gonna add a few extra cuts on the sides, so we can actually have geometry to work with. It's relatively equal. Is this enough for sculpting? I might give another I might give a subdivide just so I have enough. All right, there we go. Cool. Have you activated the sculpting mode before?
I have not in a long time. I haven't even touched sculpting.
Go to the top left where the object mode is.
Top left where the object mode is. Oh yeah, so
Sculpt mode.
Sculpt mode up there.
Cool.
There we go.
So you've got all your little tools on the side, and press check the right. You see here?
Yes. Yeah.
No, the little arrow.
Oh yeah, the little arrow with options.
Bottom. Below. Yep, there you go.
Below options.
Yes. So that's your. If you press N.
And
Yeah, that'll pop that in and out. Press N again, it'll pop back out.
ooh.
Yep. So if you go down into tools,
Mhm.
you've got all your tool options there.
Oh.
So you've got like it's like a brush, you know. It's like you've got radius, you've got like the strength, you've got like all that stuff.
Ooh. Very nice.
Cool. So now, there's basically sculpting. You can be really easy to get intimidated by like all the sculpting, all the tools you have. But there's really only a few sculpting tools that you really need to know how to use. By the way, if you press F, you can drag in and out to control the size of your brush.
Okay.
Yep, so there's really only a few sculpting tools that you really need to know how to use. Draw is okay, so by default you should be on draw.
Yeah.
Go back into sculpting mode.
Yeah. I was just hiding things so I can focus on it.
Okay, so the top one is draw. I also use below that there's like draw sharp, which is draw but sharper. There's clay and clay strips, which is what I usually use for building those shapes, right?
Yeah. So these four are the ones you use up here.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
And then there's also like the other ones are very situational. Like inflate can be useful, blob can be useful, but all of those are very situational. Below those, you can go down to the yellow ones where you got pinch, you've got grab, you've got elastic deform. Those are also pretty useful for like sort of massaging shapes into place.
It is very much.
It's sculpting.
These yellow ones here are like more sculpting.
Yeah.
That's the
Basically.
cloth.
Basically it applies like a localized cloth simulation to your object, so that's really good for getting like cloth folds and stuff.
So you don't have to worry too much about the cloth physics or
Yes.
whatever reference. That's quite good.
I'm gonna give
Just
I'm
put it there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give it like a little bit more shade so I can make sure I can see stuff instead of it just being pure white. So all you have, what did you do? Close those.
Place them.
Sophie, no.
Hang on. Hang on.
Drag them back into each other. Go to the top. Okay.
Close area there.
Yeah.
Close area there. Okay.
Now you've deleted that entire outliner.
Hang on.
Drag it back in. Go to
That
the
one.
top
Go away window.
top right and drag it back in.
Top right. Drag it back in. No.
No, drag. Okay, go to.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Because you've lost your outliner, drag. You should have dragged it vertically instead of horizontally. Then you get that. You can turn that panel back into the outliner. Go to that.
Is there a way to...
Go to that. Go. I'm not sure, but go to the top right.
Yeah.
Top right of that panel. Drag it to the right.
Top right of this panel. Up
No,
here.
when you when you see like this, do you see my cursor where it turns into this cross? It means you can drag out. When it turns into a cross, it means you can drag it out into another window. So what you want to do is drag that back to the right. So you see like how it highlights which one on my screen.
Yeah.
So if I highlight to the right, it's gonna get rid of the one on the right. So drag it back into the right to get rid of that one.
Okay.
There you
There
go.
we go.
All right, now do that again, but drag it vertically downwards.
That way.
Yes, now you have that back. Go into the top left of that panel. Outliner at the top right under data. top right.
There we go.
There you go. Now you have that back.
Yay! We got it back.
Oh my god.
Whoops.
Yay! It
Yay.
worked. Eventually.
Eventually. Alright, how did you change the color of the thing?
Go down. You are on the materials right now. Go. Select base color. Left click on base color. It's right at the top.
Okay. Oh, right at the top, yeah.
No. On under use nodes.
Under use nodes. Oh, yeah.
That's your shader, but base color. There you go.
I'm gonna make it purple. Very cool. Do you like my purple hand?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Alright, so now I can do a bit of sculpting.
Yes,
Alright, I've got my tablet out, so I'm gonna...
I'm just gonna do this with my mouse because I'm not trying to get a nice sculpt anyway. It's fine, but
Yeah,
okay.
so-
So go to advanced. Go to your tools panel.
Tools panel?
Yep. Under all those tools. No. Like the N panel, the properties panel that popped out where you pressed N.
Oh, yes, here.
Yes, that's where you have like all the options for your sculpting tools, basically. Go under advanced.
Under advanced.
Inside brush settings.
Ah, yes.
Brush settings, blah blah blah, advanced.
Right up there. Yeah.
And go to the bottom and tick the front faces only.
Front faces only.
Then like whatever you sculpt will not affect whatever is like on the other side of your mesh. Basically.
Oh, that's quite good to know, because I remember when I was doing my little bit of tutorial earlier this week, there were times where my mesh would be getting a little messy when I was just playing around. So I was wondering how to do that.
Yeah.
So that's like drawing, that's building.
Mhm. And now some basic hotkeys for at least for Blender. So select the draw tool.
Yep.
And try drawing on your hand.
Ooh.
So it's building up, right?
Yeah.
Now hold control and draw again.
Control and draw.
And that should be doing the opposite of what it's doing and going into the hand.
Ah. I see. So, for example, you got that.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Now hold shift and go draw along the edge of your the edges of your hand. That's your smooth tool. Shift is always your smooth tool. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to start smoothing along the edge of my my model to get that more organic form.
Very nice. So I need to just quickly pop down my size of my brush.
By the way, do you know how to fly? Like, do you see when you look at me? I'm not like rotating around the model. I'm like flying around with WASD.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Shift. Do you have a tilde key?
A tilde key.
Yeah. Is that little squiggly line key on your keyboard?
No, I
It-
don't have it.
You don't have it? Well, normally it should be that, but
Oh, hang on. Wait.
it should be Shift tilde.
So, yeah, no, because I have a mini keyboard.
Oh,
I have
right.
a smaller one.
A weak keyboard is what I'm hearing. So what you do? So just go into your key mapping.
Yep.
And search view navigation, walk fly. It's on my screen right now, so I just search fly on the key map.
Fly on the key map. There we go.
And you can rebind it. I'm also used to using Shift F because that's what it used to be.
Okay, so I got shift comma. Alrighty.
Are you sure it's the right comma? Because that might not be the comma you're thinking of, because that's also the tilde key for me.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, whatever's working. But now, yeah, you can just fly around WSD. If you left click, then you will end your camera movement.
There we go.
Right click
Nice,
will
and then
right click will pop you back to where you started. Left click will confirm your camera movement, basically.
Yeah, like that. I see. And back around like that. By the way, it looks like I forgot to put a bottom in.
Oh my.
Is it-
Oh no! Go down to your material properties. Go.
Okay. Material properties.
Scroll down. Scroll down. Let me take a look. Turn off like the, what is that? Like MMU material? What? Texture, MMO texture. Turn that off. Minimize those panels.
This one.
Settings. Press back face culling. Weird. Okay, turn that off again. Turn it back off. Go into edit mode. Press tab. Press tab.
Right.
Okay, you did not actually give it a bottom. What did you do? Did you just drag it out?
I think I just extruded it on the.
You you should have extruded the entire thing when you did it. So I think what you did was you extruded the edges. You didn't extrude the entire plane.
That's what I did because I selected. Yeah, I did the.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So edge select along the edge select your edge.
Yeah, like this.
No, go into face selection, because now you're on vertex. Actually, that's fine too. Yeah, delete. Just delete
Just delete.
vertexes. There you go. Go into like face selection.
Yeah.
Press A.
Yeah.
Select all, and then extrude again.
And then we want to do that on the z-axis.
Yep, and that's why we use loops, because then you can select everything really easily instead of having to worry about, oh god, did I select everything?
There we go. Delicious. Delicious hand. Now let's go back to sculpt mode and let's have some fun.
Yep, and now you basically just start sculpting, you know, like you use your tools, get used to them, and start like massaging those shapes into shape.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
just-
doing that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start by softening my edges so it feels more organic and looks more correct. And you start getting those like noodles, like little sausage fingers. Like
What,
hmm?
what was the soften tool again?
Smooth. So hold shift. Also, by the way, you notice how like all of the faces look like little facets on a model, right?
Yeah.
That's because of the normals. The normals are not softened. So if you want to fix that, go back into object mode.
Yep.
Select your object, go into object menu, shade smooth, or shade auto smooth, just shade auto smooth.
Object menu, and object menu is just here, right?
Up here. Look at my screen.
Oh yeah. Object menu. And then
Just shade smooth actually. We don't need auto smooth.
yeah.
Yeah, now all of those facets should be gone. Basically, it's just telling the normals that like this should be a smooth surface, so render them as smooth. Because this is important, because like when you're doing like, for example, robots, right? You will need to turn that off or have it be auto smooth, because it'll calculate by like the angle between the different what do you call it, the different faces. And it'll try to like determine which one should be smooth and which one shouldn't be. So like if it's like a you don't want it to be smooth if it's like supposed to be individual faces, but if it's like an organic form, you want to just set it to smooth, so it's all smooth. So yeah, now I've
Okay.
like softened my edges. I'm gonna start building out that hand. So that hand is obviously that wrist. I mean, that wrist is obviously much thicker than the hand. So we just go around with clay strips. I am not used to sculpting with a mouse, but it's okay. It's fine. This feels weird. Is it doing anything?
Use clay strips to kind of bulk things up.
Hmm. Yeah, okay, that's working. Yeah, normally I just do this in ZBrush, so like I'm actually a little bit rusty with like sculpting in Blender.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, it seems to be very. That's fine. Let's try that.
Trying to like only connected. Yes, face sets.
It seems to be indenting where I'm painting. Rather
Yeah.
than downgrade strips.
Then just like hold control to reverse it.
Okay. Ah, there we go. Let's try adjusting the strength a touch.
Trying to get used to doing this in Blender. It's a little bit weird. I think the auto masking stuff in ZBrush is a lot more reliable, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
I
had that
think.
ZBrush earlier today when
But
I was
also it costs like
about-
$500.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's doing a weird thing. So it's kind of making this like channel here.
You can just undo it, right?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, when it does that.
Oh wait, is it working with like a camera? It shouldn't. It shouldn't be. Okay, so it's not doing that. Yeah, I don't sculpt enough in Blender to like. I mostly do like a little bit like tweaking it in Blender sculpt mode. So I'm trying to like figure out how I would equivalent of like the ZBrush stuff.
Yeah. Like I'm having a weird thing happen with the edges here.
Just smooth it out. Also, wait, go back into edit mode. See, you don't have enough geometry to sculpt with. That's the problem.
Ah, so see kids, this is what happens when you don't have enough geometry.
Yeah, it's getting creased.
Gets a little messy-wessy.
Yeah, it's getting creased because you don't have enough geometry to work with. So it's just like pushing it that side. Like there's nothing for it to. There's no vertexes in the middle for it actually to hold the shape. Right. What you need to do is add like you should have subdivided it more before you start working with it, or you. Yep,
like,
or you can use Dino Topo. But Dino Topo would destroy your original geometry, which means what we were doing originally was completely pointless.
That's fair. But yeah, so as you can kind of see here, and I'm sort of saying this for the audience, by trying to push down or with sculpting tools, pushing around the geometry, because I didn't have enough here, as you can see, like it just pushed this, and because it's just one plain surface, there's nowhere else for it to go. There's not enough geometry like here, for example, to like pull it and push it around. So that's why I got confused.
Yeah,
So
and it's gotta be super weird. So yeah, you need that's why like nice sculpts in ZBrush will often be like millions of polygons, just because like you want as much geometry as possible to work with, pretty much.
Make it almost exactly like clay.
Yeah.
Right. So
You don't want to be like constrained by whatever you're doing.
what I'm gonna do now then? I'm gonna go into as far as I can. Go to edit mode. To there. So then what I'll do is I'll just pop that down there and put a leap cut there. And then that should fix my issue.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can go back into sculpt. Do a quick smoothing out. As you can see, it's acting way better now. Way better.
You can also do that, yes, Apple. Thanks. But we're doing literally like the most basic version as possible.
Yeah, we are dipping our feet in. We're two primary school kids being introduced to Play-Doh for the first time.
Well, I'm not, but theoretically speaking, my main problem is I'm doing this with a goddamn mouse.
Yeah, I've cracked out my tablet, so I'm having a go at that with that.
I would need to drag it onto my other screen for that, but I could do that too. Maybe I should do that actually. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna switch over to my tablet.
Yeah.
Let me change my display capture.
We love doing a little bit of technical stuff. Okay.
There you go, that's better. Alright. Now try to remember, like, do I still have to, like, is there... No, you can't rotate it. I still have to fly. Oh, well. Yeah, because when I'm sculpting, I'm just so used to, like, the ZBrush modes that it feels weird.
Yeah, you can get ZBrush. We see.
Well, it's a professional requirement. Let's see how long I last until I'm like, just like, fuck it, I'm gonna open up ZBrush to do this instead.
ZBrush not all of us can get ZBrush.
It's efficient. It's really good at sculpting. Because if I make a bad hand on stream, I'll be like, God damn it.
Listen, we're both gonna be fine. Both learn.
Well, what I'm just gonna like start doing is like basically start building out those forms. Sort of like, you know, there's like pads on your fingers. I'm just start like pulling those out. Pull out that palm and those pads at the bottom of your hand. Start building out those forms. Make sure they get there.
I can kind of see why people do like blender sculpting to like relax and stuff. Though.
Yeah, it is nice. Once you get used to it, once you get used to tools, which I am definitely not used to. Give me like a few more minutes. I'm just gonna fucking go into like ZBrush and do it instead.
Here's one we made a.
But I mean, functionally, the tools should theoretically be the same. It's just I'm not used to them.
Yeah, it's like, you know, asking someone who uses Photoshop to use GIMP or something like that.
Pretty much. But in this case, like the hotkeys and like the functionality is like, it should be there, but like you don't know where the fuck they are.
Yeah, true.
And they don't behave exactly like you expect them to. ZBrush. I'm just gonna fucking cheat. I mean, this was meant to be like a Blender tutorial, but I mean, like I got you most of the way there. It's just really using the tools and making them correct. I can cheat. I can cheat now, right? I can just like do it
Yeah,
like
you can cheat just a tiny bit, you know.
the
You
proper
cheat
way.
as a cheat, as a treat. Cheating.
Yeah, the proper way per se.
But you know, learning about the smooth tool and sculpt is very handy. It's really good, and learning that by inserting more polygons, I wouldn't have as much of an issue with like polygons messing up.
I mean,
Messing up.
I can keep an eye on you and tell you you're doing anything wrong as well. So it's fine. It's not the worst thing ever.
I'm gonna see if I can do a divot. Let's see what this one does. Let's see if I can do fingernail. That'd be kind of
You're gonna need like a lot of geometry for fingernails. You can turn on dynamic subdivision as Apple mentioned earlier to do that. Let me double check. Let me double check how you do that. Dynamic subdivision should be in sculpt. It's not Dinotopo. Dinotopo destroys your thing. Remesh.
doing a little research.
No, not remesh.
Hang on, how's the mesh looking?
Oh right, it's a actually no, I think it's a modifier actually. Wait, let me double check. Dynamic multi-res. Let's see. Multi-resolution. There we go. Okay. Okay, that's better. Okay, so go into object mode.
Yep.
Go into your modifiers.
Object mode.
You see that little tool icon.
Yeah, it'll also work on, yeah.
Let me open back up your stream. Find multi-res under generate. Multi-resolution. You go.
Multi-resolution.
There we go. Yep. And then press subdivide.
Subdivide.
And you can subdivide as many times as you want. Basically, like you see like how it has like level, field port, sculpt, and render. So
wow.
it's going to like
Already folding.
Yeah. Yeah, but then like if you go into like level field port and set it back to 0.
Yep.
Set it back to 0 and feel
Where's that located? Is that back in the?
no, just like
yeah.
the top. Yeah. So you can see it's like reverting back to the original geometry.
Oh,
So it's just like a dynamic. It's remembering exactly what those subdivisions were before and after.
But it's applying like this sort of bit over it.
Yes. So you have more geometry to work with.
Oh. Let's give it a sculpt. Let's give it a little sculpt. Okay. I see.
Let me. Where did I export this to?
Oh yeah, no, this is looking way like you can see just the resolution in itself, like it's way better.
Yeah. So you can actually sculpt more easily, and you can still keep like nice geometry that you had earlier.
Yeah, look at that.
Where is the
Look at how tense that is.
desktop? Oh, export images. Right.
Smooth it out. So you can kind of chip away at it, and then you can just kind of smooth it out.
Yeah.
That's really
Oh,
cool, actually.
that's weird.
Like this is giving me a really good idea of how to get like a mesh, like a basic mesh going, and then doing that.
Okay, where's my hand? I'm just like staring at my hand every once in a while. It's just like, okay.
Just to be like, alright, that's how they look.
Yep.
What they look like.
But yeah, from then on, it really is just like sort of like pulling all your shapes into place and making sure they look correct and checking reference and all that. It ain't too bad. How do you feel about it so far?
I'm definitely really liking the sculpting section, but I think it's because I did like clay work and stuff back in high school.
And that definitely helps. It feels very similar.
It does feel very nice. Digital sculpting.
That's why it's called sculpting.
Oh, sculpting.
But yeah, how's your, while we're just like doing this, we can just chat, How's your
Exactly.
How's your week been? How's you can tell me in person about like the US.
Yeah, oh my god, I love the US. Like I
That's not a word, that's not a phrase you hear often.
Like, honestly, I think the thing is, you do hear a lot about the news cycle and things, and it does get in the way a lot about people's perceptions of the US. But I personally really kind of like it.
Okay.
Like, it's very casual, and it's very, like, chilled out.
It's very British of you to say, alright?
Yeah, like, it is casual, like, and people are very friendly over there as well, so it is quite nice. Like, they're interested in you, and it's not in, like, a weird way, it's like, like, interested, like, wanna talk to their friends later about this experience, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, as someone who likes talking.
Also, you sound British, so you're automatically more interesting.
Oh, yes, I'm automatically more interesting. It's very funny.
Did anybody, like, mention your British accent?
Yes, constantly.
I'm wondering if I should try and adopt like a British accent while I'm in the UK, like actively try and like develop it a little bit more than as I go along. So like if I ever go to like the US, I'll be like, hey guys, I'm British. Or to be honest though, I can probably just pretend and most people probably can't tell.
Yeah.
How many?
They asked me a lot about the coronation as well, like quite a few people.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
People care about a coronation?
Yeah, I mean, because they're in a foreign land. We're basically kind of foreign to them. It's quite interesting.
Oh, okay. I found it very uninteresting.
Yeah, did you do anything for the coronation?
No, I stayed home and worked. Oh well, we had like the studio threw on like a coronation party, I guess. Like they had like I mean nobody cares about the king, but we were just like, well, he's giving a bag holiday, so I guess like we'll have some like sandwiches in his honor, I guess. It was just like free food, it's like we're not gonna complain about that. But it's just like nobody, like none of us like actually give a shit about the king.
Yeah, like it's interesting. I think from a cultural perspective, it's kind of interesting, but I'm not really a fan of the monarchy myself. So.
Who is, like who's a simp? Oh yeah, but but she's old. The old people are like other like old rich people, it's like it's their thing,
Yeah.
Like you can't like I'm not gonna blame her too much for that one, I guess.
She likes the monarchy. She likes the royals.
Good old boys.
What?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, like, what did the monarchy ever did for Hong Kong?
A lot, debatably, but like not good.
Well, yeah, but was it directly done? Because they weren't really that much in charge for like the last like 60 years, really.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like you can say like the UK did stuff for Hong Kong, and then they gave us back to China, but that's a different discussion.
That's a
Uh,
different discussion, which we will not get into today.
yep,
But
yep, fair. But like, the monarchs didn't really do that much for Hong Kong per se. It's just like, yeah, maybe like the British institutions did, but they didn't. Like, it's very arguable how much of that they were directly responsible for.
yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things, eh?
Yeah, it's a complicated relationship.
It is, yeah, I agree on that part.
Oh, I really want to get into like VR sculpting.
Ooh, yeah, what do you think of that?
Yeah, it seems very cool, and right now our lead concept artist is actually messing around with it, and he made like a really cool gorilla in like an hour. And I was like, well, shit, I want to do that. That looks fun. And yeah, some of my friends in the industry are definitely very much into it. I think it'll be a super cool tool. I just really haven't had the time to really get into it recently, but I hopefully will soon. Don't know, but that's a hope.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can definitely do a lot of really nice like organic forms with it though, so it seems very
Yeah,
useful.
and I think also just being able to kind of like sculpt it like sculpting it like an actual like physical thing. That'd be
Mm-hmm.
good. Yeah, like it's more natural. It doesn't feel as like because Blender is good, and I'm kind of enjoying Blender sculpting at the moment, but still doing it on the computer feels a bit compared to doing
I
it.
I mean it might just be because like I've always done it this way. I'm okay with this.
I'm okay with this. I'm doing a thing that feels kind of weird. I want your
Oh,
opinion on what
okay.
I'm doing.
Take a look.
So basically, I've been sculpting, and then this pops up, and it looks like it's not like really joined.
Rotate around it and let me take a look. That's coming in from the other side of the model. That's why.
Why is it doing that? Wait, hang on. Did I?
Because it's what it's doing is like the fall off is in a circle, right? So like if the brush is large enough, it's going to affect the other side, unfortunately. So you got to be careful of that.
So instead of like a plane, it's more like a sphere.
Mhm.
Okay.
So right now, if you take a look at what I'm doing in ZBrush, what I'm doing is just like I'm using the clay buildup, which is similar basically to like the Blender clay strips, to just sort of build up that form, as add more form to like that arm, and build it up out to like more of a tube, the shape that I want it to be, and I'm gonna go back up and like smooth it back down so you don't have those all those ugly low feathering lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now.
I'm gonna continue just building up and smoothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There we go. That's looking way better.
Oh yeah, where in the US did you go?
I went to Maryland, which is like the state where Washington.
Maryland is nice. I mean,
Very nice. I
Yeah.
quite like it. It was very like springtime. Lots of flowers, lots of green.
yeah, that
Um,
does seem very chill.
Yeah, and I was also like right near the bay in Baltimore, so that was really nice.
Oh, is Baltimore nice? Because isn't Baltimore very like lots of crime?
No, I would say it's a lot like London in the sense that you got the inner city, which is really nice.
Oh,
in London,
okay.
and then you got the like some suburbs which aren't very nice.
Okay.
Crime.
Okay.
So Baltimore is like that.
I actually don't know a lot about Baltimore. I only knew it had like a bunch of crime because of The Expanse.
Mm. It does have a lot of crime, but like the crime is localized to some areas. It's not like the whole thing's crime ridden.
Okay,
Some of it's like quite pretty.
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Baltimore is like an older city too, right?
Yeah. It was around during the Civil War and that kind of thing, so there was a lot of history for that,
Fair enough.
which was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I went to like SCAD, which is also very much like old Civil War city as well.
Oh yeah, like
Like there's Savannah and all that, and then like it sort of sucked for a while, And then like Sky was like, yeah, we'll buy up like half of the town, and turn it into like a campus. And like, okay, it's like they got for cheap. So like,
Yeah, to be fair, I'm a big fan of when places do that. Not so much companies, but like education and those kinds of places. I'm like,
yeah,
you gentrify.
you
Not
you make it not so shitty at least. Like at least keep like the historical the buildings intact and stuff, right? Do like a little bit of upkeep and whatnot. That's fine. I mean, like not everybody is as much of a fan as SCAD, which is like fair and justified critique. But they do a decent enough job of like like renovating old buildings and stuff. Like the building they had in Hong Kong was also like that because they had like the old magistrate court in what do you call it? Samsoibo.
Oh yeah. Like that has some like Kowloon has some really beautiful older buildings, especially in this Shamrock.
Yeah, exactly. So that stuff is good, I guess.
Yeah, like I'm always a fan of reducing, reusing, and recycling, so it kind of follows my ethos.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Over the last week, the studio has been like spoiling us, by the way, because it was
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, it's like well-being week or something, and it's like, yeah, here's like a bunch of shit. It's like there's like free breakfast every day now. Yeah, so they keep like giving like it's all like healthy stuff as well. It's like yogurt and like fruits and stuff, and that's all great stuff, and I'm a big fan. And then like they did like I have not had to like buy any groceries for like the last how long has it been? Like 2 weeks? I mean, I buy groceries for myself. I don't need to buy it. That's the thing. Cuz like the studios give us so much free food these days.
Yeah.
Like Monday I had like my entire breakfast, lunch and dinner at the studio, and it's all free.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, I remember telling you like you're not gonna pay for groceries like at all.
I don't need to, at least.
You really don't need to. Like you're taken care of like quite well there, I will say.
Yeah, they've been very nice to me. I've been having a good time personally. Every student has their problems, but for me, I'm having a really good time, so I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, exactly.
The
I can't even remember you complaining about it, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because I don't have anything to complain about. My team's really awesome, and like I'm having a good time in the office. So it's like there's literally like there's nothing I want to complain about.
Yeah, exactly. Man, makes me excited to like get back into the games industry. To be honest, be very nice.
Well, that's to be fair. That's also not like necessarily indicative of the games industry necessarily.
Yeah, true. But like, it's nice to know that there are some like game studios that do look after employees well,
As much as possible, yeah.
as much as possible.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Lovely little-
And then on Friday, it was like just like fucking. It was crazy because like came in and then obviously every Friday for us is pastries day, so we get free pastries on Fridays. And then like they had like a bunch of vendors set up shop in our cafeteria area, and there was like
Well,
they
like local vendors.
yeah, local vendors. They come in and they set up stuff so you can like talk to them. They had like a gym set up shop. They had like some other like wellness products. They had like what was they had like a sports equipment thing, and then like they had like a little competition for like you could try and ride one of their like exercise cycles, and then like it would and then like whoever what like a little competition, and then like whoever got the furthest or something got like a free blender.
A free blender.
Yeah, not our blender, but a blender.
Yeah, but like blender.
Yeah, a blender. Yeah, kitchen blender.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then they also had like and then like in the afternoon they had like a mocktail class, So people were like learning how to do mocktails in office. I didn't go because I was like trying to get some drawing done, but I asked one of
Yeah.
my tech art friends to like, hey dude, make me a mocktail, will ya? And like he was, and then like 5 minutes later, he messages me on Slack. He's like, dude, come down, get your mocktail. Like, holy shit! I just like got like a virgin mojito.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
that was fun.
that's really good. Was it a good mojito?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's a mojito. Like it's hard to fuck up a mojito. Mojitos are like relatively basic, I guess.
no, I've had some pretty nasty mojitos.
Oh really?
Yeah, no, you'd think it wouldn't be that hard to mess up, but sometimes it can.
Okay. Like what did they mess up though?
I think it was something super simple. Like I think they used just regular sugar instead of syrup.
Oh yeah, no, I guess that's a no. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like absolute basics that they shouldn't be messing up. And if you're doing a class, ideally the instructor would tell you to stop it, cut it out.
Yeah.
Don't be dumbass.
Pretty dumb.
And then we also had free groceries.
Oh.
Like they did, yeah, they did like they're like, hey, make your own vegan vegetarian paella, and then here's like a bunch of like the really nice produce that you can use to do that. I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing that then. So I mean, I didn't make it vegetarian, but I did make a paella. So they're like there's like leeks, there are like onions, there are like tomatoes, peppers, all that stuff, and it's like hell yeah. And then there's like just like a bunch of it left over, right? So it's just like I'm gonna take like 5 packets of risotto rice and take it home, because what else are you gonna do with it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's good shit.
So I would like to apologize in advance for the state of my hand because I'm just getting
It's
it.
fine. It's you're practicing. I can see you working over there on my other screen. It's fine.
I'm learning.
You're learning. That's the point.
I found the inflate tool, and that's actually kind of good for like trench lines and that kind of thing.
It is actually, yeah. Feels like not quite thick enough on this side. Oh, I should just use the move tool, I think. Yeah, like you can see what I'm doing in ZBrush. I make it way higher resolution pulling those ships.
Look at that.
Well, like I said, I'm used to using ZBrush, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose if I was used to Blender, then I'd kind of be.
yeah, but actually, there are basically all the tools I told you about have the equivalent in ZBrushes. It's just I'm not used to like how the masking and stuff works, so it's a little bit clumsier for me. So you can see me like I'm using like the move tool, which is like the like same in Blender has that as well, and just using that to sort of like pull out the palms a little bit, and it just like sort of like make sure I have like that proper arc in those in the fingers and those little and the knuckles. Yeah, that knuckles.
Yeah.
Not the echidna, not the
Just to
echidna.
clarify to any viewers in the audience who might be confused.
Yes, if you're a Sonic fan, I am sorry.
My condolences.
My condolences about
Being a Sonic fan.
life in general. No, I'm joking. I mean, honestly, Sonic fans probably have it way better than a lot of other people do right now, because the last game was good, and then like the movies are really good. Like I don't think Sonic fans actually have that much to complain about.
Yeah, Sonic fans aren't suffering anymore.
As a Halo fan, oh god, I'm not having a good time right now with Halo, and I'm also a Star Wars fan, so that's not that fun. I'm also a Lord of the Rings fan, so that's not that good fun either.
Actually, yeah. What happened with the series? Because I have no
Bad.
idea what's going on with that.
Real bad.
Bad.
Yes, just bad. Yes, Apple. Pain. Oh god. Do you want me to? Because like,
Go off, King. Honestly.
okay, so Rings of Power, right? I started watching it. And I was like immediately like 5 minutes into it, I was like, you know what? This is not Tolkien, but maybe it'll be a decent fantasy series anyway, right? Like if I could just treat it as not Tolkien, I can be like, I can still somewhat enjoy this. And I watched for like 4 or 5 episodes until I was like, I literally I can't take it anymore. I have to quit because the writing was just so dumb and so bad.
Yeah. Was it just like not?
Galadriel is incredibly obnoxious. Like she just
Oh,
like
no.
rushes into like she's like 3,000 years old, right? And she acts like a hothead teenager. And it's like immediately rushes into like situations like, I know the best. Listen to me. Why aren't you listening to me? I am correct. And it's just like, God, why? Why is she so like unlikable? It's like I feel like a problem a lot of like writers have these days is like they mistake being a strong character, like, you know, with being righteous.
Mm,
Like, you don't have to make it out like, oh, I know better than everyone else to be right. You can just
yeah.
be a nice person and like actually talk to people about shit, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and then obviously there's also all the other crazy lore bits that just like absolutely make zero sense. It's like for example, like they treat death as like incredibly permanent when it's literally canon that elves respawn. Like it's
Yeah, that's silly.
and then it's just like, oh my, and then they're like Galadriel. There's like a line in like the first like 10 minutes where I was watching it, and then Galadriel was like, oh, like maybe like what I will. This is where I will rest internally. It's like while looking at a bunch of like graves for elves. I was like, no, you won't. You're going back to the halls of Mandos. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you literally just respawn. I'm sorry, internal rest. That's you just respawn, man. I'm sorry, you don't get to die.
Fine.
That's literally like Iluvatar's gift for mankind. You know, it's like death is literally his gift for mankind. Elves don't get to die. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it wasn't there like a massive thing about, yeah, like in the law,
Yeah,
being able to die.
yeah. It's just weird. Like, and then obviously they also treat like all the other elves like chumps, and then they don't really do much. Like only the main characters get to do anything, and like goddamn what's his name, Celebrimbor is an idiot. There's like a it's like, you know how like in the lore like sort of like wait, how much Lord of the Rings lore do you know actually?
I know a basic amount. I have seen the movies and I have read The Hobbit.
Okay, but you haven't read like the Silmarillion or anything basically.
No, I haven't. So I'm
Okay.
going off of what you're
Okay,
saying.
okay, okay,
I
okay.
understand that just from your reaction alone that they haven't messed up a lot of the law.
Yeah, so in like the Silmarillion, the basically Celebrimbor is like the elf who forged the rings of power, right?
Yes.
And like it is said that sort of like Sauron assisted him and helped him do it. In the series, they do it, but in the dumbest way possible. So they have like Celebrimbor, like the master smith of the elves, like one of the best smiths of like literally all time. He's like struggling to like make the rings, and then Sauron comes up to him and is like, "Hey, have you considered um, making alloy?" And he's like, "Oh my god, I have it." It's like, "What? You have it?" Like that's like literal basic smithing shit where you combine different metals, right? It's like how is this like his contribution?
Yeah, that's very silly. By the way, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I have been looking over my little mesh here,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that there's a little mistake here.
Okay.
So you see where the mesh just isn't joining very well?
Yes.
So I'm wondering how I can correct this. So I tried doing like a quick control R, but it's not.
Yeah, you've messed that up. Well, first things first. Let's deselect everything. Press A a couple of times.
Yep.
Okay. Now press M. M is merge, so go to by distance. And yes, just enter that operation. Just click anywhere else, basically.
Anywhere else?
Yep. And then that should have done its job. Okay, so basically what that does is like if you have any overlapping vertexes, it would be like, because like merge by distance is like 0.00001. Basically, it's like anything that's like super close to each other will get merged, so that should have gotten enough any duplicate points. So we're making sure that like we don't have like a bunch of like hidden vertexes that we don't want there, right?
Okay, so
Okay.
that's how you basically correct that. Okay.
First, no. First, that's just to make sure we don't have extra vertexes going around. So fly sort of like zoom in to where that is. the fucked up geometry.
Yeah.
Take a closer look. By the way, you can change how fast you move by scrolling up and down as well. So if you want to like move slowly, just like scroll down. I think then
Oh
it
yeah.
should. Yep. So zoom. No, go outside.
Here's an example of it on the inside.
Okay.
Better look.
Okay. Okay. So, left click. No, left click, not right. You reset your camera.
Lol. Lol.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You've set the camera, right?
Yes.
Okay. Press K for your knife tool. Knife, yes. And now click that vertex on the right, where the loop on the right.
This one?
No, bottom. Go to like the okay. Let me go back into Blender to show you what I mean. Give me a sec. Okay, so let's say I did this and I fucked up. I'm gonna go. What was it? Dissolve.
It was like folded in. Yeah.
Wait, no, dissolve edges. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to tell you to do basically right now is so you see. So now we want to connect this and connect this to get the loop back, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to have the knife tool. I'm going to grab this vertex and cut it over. So now it becomes a loop again. Just, you see what I mean? So I'm just going to cut it.
Like that.
Like, yep, so just
Okay.
cut it across.
Noise. So, and you use the faces.
No, you use vertex. Well, the knife tool works with vertexes. So, knife. Yep. Click that. Yes. Yep. Go to the right. And just click on a second one. Yep. And then left click. There you go. And then press enter to finish the operation.
Hey.
There you go. So you've got that loop back, and just like cut it back down, basically.
Very lovely. Perfect. So now that I can do that, I can try and do that.
Magic.
Thank you.
No problem. Should I keep ranting about Rings of Power?
Please. I was actually really invested in it.
Yeah. Okay. Where was I up to? What was I complaining about it just now?
The elves treat death as the permanent thing, even though it's not.
Yes.
And
yes, the fucking alloy bullshit. Yeah, okay. Also, Galadriel randomly. Okay, I'm going to spoil everything because, like, it's not worth not spoiling. You should not give a shit about this if you care at all about, like, Lord Rings. So, like, the show tries to keep you guessing at who is Sauron. Basically, it's like trying to, like, oh, there's like multiple characters that are like sort of like suspicious, and it's like trying to let you guess who Sauron is. And it's like sort of effective in the beginning, I guess, but like there's only one real candidate for who Sauron is, and it's just like some random dude that like a random human that's like really weird and suspicious in his entire time, and then like he bumps into Galadriel in the middle of the fucking ocean, like out of nowhere, like as you do. It's like literally like the explanation was that like they were supposed to be like refugees, and what did you do?
got a bit of glass in my hand, clearly.
Oh no, what did you do?
I don't know. What if I just smooth it away?
You can, but go make your brush bigger. Make your brush bigger, spin around to look at it, and then like starts and then smooth it back in.
Yeah.
F to make your brush bigger, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. I was also using brackets like you do in Photoshop.
You can do that too.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Okay.
Oh God. It's a necromorph.
Necromizing.
Yeah, while you try and
Yeah.
like get rid of the glass. Okay, so
Yeah.
like literally like the explanation for it is like they bump into like he's on a refugee ship fleeing from like a evil empire or something. I forget exactly what happened, but like and then they got shipwrecked and it just like randomly bumps into like the plot
Oh, I
device
love it. I
that
love it.
Galadriel is. And
I
it's
love
just
it when they
like
bump into the plot.
and then he also asked Galadriel to marry him or something. And it's like,
Uh,
why are you shipping them? This makes what? And also, like, Galadriel is married at this point. She's been married for like 1,000 years, and like her husband never appears and is never mentioned, and it's just like very. It's like why are you shipping in Lord of the Rings with between characters that have like they're not meant to have any chemistry? And like Galadriel's entire thing, like Sauron literally was like in the lore was afraid of Galadriel because she could see past like sort of like she could she was wiser than like other people, and could see his bullshit, and he was like scared of her, but she never even notices that he's fucking Sauron until like he's like, hey, by the way, I'm Sauron. And like, and don't forget this entire time, her character motivation is she wants to find Sauron.
that is
And she doesn't fucking see Sauron literally right like just like following her around all over the place. It's so fucking stupid.
so her whole motivation is to find Sauron.
Yes.
And Sauron has to come to her.
Yes. And Sauron has just been there this entire time. But it's yeah, and then like in the lore she's also like Sauron was scared of her because he could see because you know it's like the line in the books where it's like what was it? What often seems foul may be fair, and what often seems fair may be foul. And then like that's like she can see past his bullshit basically, and like that's why he was afraid of her. No, like here she just is fucking blind, and like and then Sauron fucking has a crush on her and asks her to marry him. I guess
Well, she's married.
she's married, and also like very awkward, just like no you like because like in this series like she blames him for like the death of her brother, which also once again he responds, you've been to she's literally been to like their version of heaven, you know he's just back there, man. It's got fucking it's so annoying. It's like all that lore shit, and then none of the elves really look like elves. Like none of them have that ethereal, you know, like feeling you get from like the elves in like the movies, right? They just like feel like dudes with like pointy ears, pretty much. Like there's like Celebrimbor is like younger than Galadriel, by the way, and Galadriel looks like a teen, like a late teenager or like early 20s, and Celebrimbor looks like he's 40. Elves literally never age. Why does he look 40? Why does he look like a bloke? He looks like a guy I would get a pint with at the fucking pub. It makes no goddamn sense. What
I
else?
also saw that the costume design was also really bad.
Oh god, the Numenorians. The Numenorians are fucked so hard in that series. They don't like, you know, like the Numenorians are supposed to be like the most like enlightened humans because like they helped the elves, so like they gave them like extra. I mean, like I'm not super jazzed with like the cultural and racial implications of that shit, but you know, it's like it's like Tolkien, right? I'm not gonna like complain too much. Like it's all like mythological stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter super much, but like you know, like they were graced with like the some power of the elves, so they live longer, and they have like you know they've got like more advanced technology and stuff. And no, they're just like a bunch of dudes. Like there's literally like one. There's like literally a scene where they literally have you watched South Park?
Oh my god, what did they do?
Okay, you know like they took our jobs, like those guys.
No, are you serious?
Yes, there's literally a scene where they're quote like there's like the elves would take our jobs. They're literally like fear mongering, like they're afraid that elves will compete for them for on the job market. So that's why they wanted like Galadriel to leave.
That is so funny.
That's like they turned them into like a bunch of like racist assholes that don't like elves coming to take their jobs, but why would they? Are they afraid of mass immigration for some reason? Like, why would the elves just suddenly go to like Numenor? It's like literally, it's just like Galadriel is like, oh, I got shipwrecked here, because oh, by the way, she only got like stranded on Numenor because they were sending her like for some reason Gil-galad, like the last elven king, was like, I don't really like her. She's like telling people that Sauron is still alive, so she's like, send her back to heaven, I guess. So send her back to like Valinor, like the secret lands. And then so like how elves do that, it's like, they sail like really really to the west, and then like they get there. They just get there. But in the series, that doesn't happen, because they don't just get there. They fucking the ship dissolves into light or something and like rises into the sky, even though it is specifically in the lore that doesn't happen, because it is just physically there, which is why the Numenorians had fucked up with the hubris and tried to sail to Valinor. So like basically what happens, like the Numenor, like Gondor, right? Gondor is like the most powerful like kingdom, and that's because they were like the remnants of like the Numenorians that came to Middle Earth. So like it was the remnants because like they got like super like not like decadent, but like they got like corrupted by like Sauron, and then they turned on like the Valinor, which is like where all the quote unquote like gods are basically, but they're more like archangels, but basically like the gods live in Valinor. And then like the Sauron convinced their king to like, oh, we're so powerful, we should like replace the elves, we're going to Valinor and take it over, because Valinor is a physical place in the world that they could sail to, not a magic cloud kingdom that you disappear into the sky. They turn it into like a more of a spiritual place that you can't physically get to after the invasion, and that doesn't happen until Numenor gets destroyed.
Oh my gosh.
So they completely fucked up the lore in that one too. But anyway, so like they were sending Galadriel over to like Valinor, and she's like, I don't really want to go. I want to go back and look for Sauron. And she fucking jumps off the ocean. She jumps off the ship into the ocean, and it's like, what's her plan? Literally just swim back to Middle Earth? Like, this is like the western edge of the world. This is like, well, she literally just planning on like swimming back, and that's how she runs into like the Sauron, because like he's like just drifting randomly in the middle of the ocean, which is also dumb. But anyway,
Wait,
so yeah,
does she swim back, or does she...
no. They have like a raft, so like they pick her up on the raft.
Oh,
Yeah, so she does not swim back. I don't think she could swim back.
that makes sense.
But her plan was just to like fucking drown in the ocean, which once again that probably is not that bad for an elf, because once again they respawn, but you don't treat them like they respawn. But anyway,
So either they respawn or they don't.
yes. But anyway, so like they literally, like what happens is like they just picked up like a shipwrecked elf, and then she's like, I want to look for Sauron, and it's like, oh my god, get rid of the elf, they're gonna take our jobs, they live forever. And then we're never gonna have any jobs because they live forever.
Gonna take steward jobs.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Very funny.
It's great if you view it as a comedy, I guess.
It's a parody comedy,
Yeah, I would be okay if it was like a comedy. What else did I hate? Actually, there were some parts I liked. I liked the Elrond and his friendship with like the one of the dwarf princes. That was quite sweet and sort of cute. I like that. Let's see, what else did I like? I am struggling right now.
Struggling to find a good thing to say about this darn show.
I like parts of the hobbits, but they were sort of like assholes. Like basically like the hobbits were like migratory nomads sort of, and then they're like, if you get left behind, you get left behind, fuck you, we're not gonna wait for you. And then like
Not how they really work.
and then they find like, and then like one of the hobbit kids finds like Gandalf, and then like Gandalf has no memory for some reason, and it's weird because Gandalf canonically comes to Middle Earth to combat Sauron. But Sauron isn't like really a thing yet. Uh, but so okay, and then why does he not have his memory? I don't get it.
He's clearly just waiting in spawn.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just waiting to like for his Gandalf.exe to boot up.
Yeah.
And then so like they find the like a mysterious stranger that's obviously Gandalf because he's a fucking wizard and he's got like a beard and shit. Like how stupid do you think we are? There's not that many magical people with beards, you know? It's one of the wizards. And also he's not in white, so he's not Sauron. He's not in blue. He's not like the blue wizards. So he's not in brown. He's not Radagast. So that leaves Gandalf. What? Wow! What a surprise. So yeah, they don't. So they don't like that. Like the little Hobbit girl is like helping an outsider or something, and they're like, oh yeah, and then her dad breaks his foot, I think. So they're like, yeah, no, fuck them, leave them behind. If you fall behind, you're gonna die, and we're not gonna help you. It's like, why would you do this? There's like a couple, there's like a couple of nice scenes with them. Like there's like a scene where it's like they're sort of like remembering like the people that they're dead basically, where they're like, oh, it's like somebody, it's like, how did they die? Oh, we remember you. It's like, yeah, you're always in our hearts and stuff. And it's touching until you realize they died because you didn't fucking help them. You just fucking left them behind. You let them die.
They're literally the embodiment of thoughts and prayers.
Yep, thoughts and prayers. Basically, you are correct. Holy shit.
Thoughts and prayers from the
Oh
hobbits.
my god, that series, man.
I can tell you're very upset.
And then like there's like a part where like sort of like there's like another orc like goblin orc warlord sort of thing. I mean, I'm not gonna get into all of that because that part is actually not that bad. That part is okay. They
everything else, like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Like he's like a sort of like an elf that like sympathizes with like the plight of like the goblins and orcs. Yeah, it's like that's fine because like in the old lore, like the orcs and goblins were created from like corrupted elves, so it sort of makes sense that like he feels bad for them and wants to like lead them or something. Like you can do that. You can do like a villainous elf. That's fine. And then like so like they're sort of like destroying like the Southlands, right? And then like displacing all the humans. And then there's like there's like a part where they have like they're like, oh, we've gathered all of the people of the Southlands together. It's like literally like 50 people, and it's like, what? That's it?
That's not enough.
They just fit them all in like old watchtower. And it's like, how do you think populations work? Like, what is happening? Is there literally no army in this area? Like, are there no guards or anything? Like, how are they completely helpless? And then apparently like they were like being like watched over by like the elves because like they fought against the elves back in back in the day, and like so they have like elf sort of like watchmen, I guess, and there's like literally like 5 of them to watch over entire country, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's definitely how that works. That's very 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 logical.
You don't understand. They're very good at this.
Yeah, they're very good at their jobs. I will also say like there were some like assholes that were like, elves can't be black, but like the one like black actor for an elf, he's like the only one that even vaguely feels like an elf because like he acts a little bit more aloof, you know, he's got like the right demeanor for an elf, so he's actually the only one that feels like an elf, so good for him. He's actually not bad. But I do have an issue where like they give him like a love interest in like a human woman, and then it's like literally that is not supposed to happen, and that's what makes like Arwen and like Aragorn's entire thing super rare because it's only happened once in history with like their ancient ancestors, like Beren and Luthien. And that's what makes them special because like whenever you have like a elf and a human, like then they have offspring, it's like and then like they become like half elves and like they can choose to either be elf or like, you know, it's like a whole fucking big deal, and then they just like, no, just give him a love interest. Like, God, you realize she's like 30 or 40 years, she's like 40 or something, I think, and
And also, like,
and but but like he's like 5,000 years old or something, right? That's like that feels weird. Like, and he's been, and also he like at least like with like Aragon and Arwen, like Arwen's like only like 200 years old, I think, and Aragon's like 80, right? Like 80 or 90. That's like fine, I guess. That's like
it's not bad.
that's not too bad. And also like but then like the story was like this elf has been patrolling those lands for like ever since the end of last wars, like hundreds of years ago. And then like this lady is like, you know, she's been living there, so it's like theoretically like he's been watching her grow up this entire time, and it's like feels fucking weird, you know? Yeah, guys, like I like the vibes are a little bit off. I don't know about that one. So yeah, no, it's just like a lot of like absolute wacky shit. And then the Numenorians also like bring an army to like fight the orcs and shit, and they bring like literally like 100 people. It's like I thought you guys poured like $1 billion into this. Like, how does it feel this low budget?
Ryu, you don't understand. They're very good. They're very good at the job.
I think they actually lose.
They're very good at the job.
They're supposed to be very good. They're not, but yeah. So yeah, no, just like that. Basically, it isn't, and they're already filming season 2. So yay, thank you, Amazon. Yes, I mean they invested too much money into it to like stop. I feel like.
I think that's it. Yeah.
They're also making Lord of the Rings MMO, which I'm hoping is better because it's not related to like the series.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be okay. But then like after like they made New World, I don't know what I don't fucking know. It could be terrible. Yeah. Like I don't trust Amazon. You shouldn't trust Amazon anyway. Never trust any mega corporation. I say this while being like a Tencent employee, but
yeah,
but I don't trust Tencent.
The world we live in. This is the world we live in.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. What am I supposed to do? Starve?
Be an independent artist? I tried that already, and I still end up working for them. So, but yeah, oh god, the Halo series is actually, I don't know if the Halo series is better or worse, I'll be honest.
Really?
Yes. Like, you're not into Halo, are you?
I played a little bit of Infinite, and I do like the game.
Okay. Infinite's not bad. I like Infinite. I like the story for Infinite, and the emotional beats for Infinite. But the definitely...
What do you think of the show, though?
The show is fucking terrible. Once again, it's like one of those things where I was like, I started off immediately. I was like, this does not feel like Halo, but maybe it'll be a good series, like a good generic sci-fi thing. In spite of that, and then it just got worse and worse and worse, and then like it became like completely irredeemable. Like it was, yeah. Unfortunately, like I stayed with it for like 6 episodes, I think. And then just after that, like after once again, you don't care about spoilers, right? Because it's a fucking terrible. Once again, it's a terrible show.
I don't really watch many shows.
Yeah,
I don't really
that's fair. Yeah. Also, like we were basically just not doing Blender now. We're just like sculpting.
Yeah.
I mean, which is fine.
My fingers are looking good. I just need to work on the knuckles and actual wrist a bit more.
Yeah. Fingies. Yeah, you're doing a good job actually.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, I think it's missing some volume in like the palm area.
Yeah, like the palm is down here.
Yeah, I think what you should do is just like use like the move tool, and like obviously the wrist area is still super flat, right? So just like pull that out, basically just give it some extra volume, pull that out, make sure it's a good bit thicker. You could also do that, yeah. You don't have to like sculpt for everything, but yeah, you're doing a good job. I think in a bit, like I might just like throw this back into Blender. I mean, it's not done for like a hand, but and then like show you some shader tips.
Yes, that'd be very good.
Yeah, let me finish ranting about Halo, and then we can do that. Yeah. My pain is funny. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's very funny.
Okay, so you don't really know anything about like the Halo lore, right?
I don't know a whole lot. I'm in the same boat as Lord of the Rings, where I do enjoy the franchise to an extent, but I'm not.
You're not like into it. You just like know about it vaguely. That's fine.
I know about it vaguely.
Okay, okay.
I mean, guns.
So basically, Halo. Spoiler alert for anybody who might be watching, but you shouldn't care because the show is terrible. The show completely lost me the moment they made Master Chief fuck.
They what?
Yeah, they made Master Chief like fuck a prisoner of war. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so they have a human working with the Covenant for some reason, and she hates humans because she lived on like a shitty world, and then like people were mean to her, and I think got like her love interest as a child killed, so she decided to join the Covenant and help them murder all of humanity, I think. It's
Okay.
it's something.
Very
Yeah, it's very edgy. It's something like that. So and then like and then she like tries to infiltrate like the UNSC, and then is like, oh, the people suck. I'm gonna infiltrate, and then like I'm gonna like fucking I forget exactly what her goal was, but like bring some data or something back to like the Covenant. I don't remember exactly. It's fucking stupid. But then she meets like the Master Chief, and then the Master Chief is like nice to her. So like so like they fucking fall in love and have like a romance. It's like fucking me, and then there's like they literally have sex in like one of the. It's like, but like the Master Chief though. Why is it the Master Chief? Like literally none of the Spartans are meant to have like any romantic feelings because it's like chemically like tuned out of them, I think. And then like also meanwhile, don't forget Cortana is in his brain this entire time and watching. It's it's very awkward.
Cortana's just doing the thing where she's just peeking through her fingers.
Yeah. So he has sex with a war prisoner essentially because like they knew like she was like working with the Covenant, and she was like fucking isolated in a room, and she was supposed to be under like house arrest, and then like Master Chief's like has sex with her, and then like brings her out to like have a walk in a park and shit, and it's like, what is going on?
I also like it doesn't make any sense. From what little lore I understand about the Spartans, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's so incredibly awkward and badly done. Speaking of, my knuckles are fucked up, so I'm gonna just shift them back into shape.
She's got broken knuckles.
No, they're better now. They're somewhat better.
I put little divots in my hand. Need to correct that.
I mean, I'm not expecting to like get like a finished good hand anyway. It's only been like it's like a speed sculpt. I mean, I'm not even going that fast really. I'm just like vaguely ranting about like shitty shows while doing sculpting, so I'm not actually concentrating that much. It's fine. Yeah, so like what was I saying? Yes, also like yeah, basically the show is just bad. Like there's like it's also just paced badly. Like there's like a lot of downtime where just like nothing happens basically.
Oh my god.
And then they have like Master Chief go rogue and like betray the UN. Yeah, like the UNSC wants to like fucking arrest him or something, and he just like fucking runs off. And then like there's like a part where like Cortana is like not his friend, like Cortana is just like not his friend at all. Like
That's the worst part.
like
Unforgivable.
yeah, basically they have like they have her be like an agent for like Halsey, I think, and like it's like, oh, shut the Master Chief down if we need him, like you are like you are our control measure for the Master Chief. And then and then she does it, and then Master Chief hates her for it, and then now they're just not friends.
I don't like that.
It's real.
I remember when they were together in like this Halo. Like the chemistry was very good. Like
Yes, that's the point. like hell, they have like that's like their relationship is like closest to like the romantic relationship in all of Halo. And it's not really romantic, really, but
It's more like the
emotional bond, really, more than like they're not dating.
yeah,
They're just like they're like partners, right? But not like more like life partners than like dating. But
yeah, exactly. Like
yeah,
they are
they are
together,
each other's like rock.
bonded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they've been through like wars together, so like
and like they've been working together for like years and years, and like she's like the closest thing he has to family, you know, that sort of shit. And then no, he's like fucking freezes him, and they're not friends, and it's like he
I don't
doesn't even want her in his brain, and it's like real fucked up, you know. That's just like not Halo.
it's just not Halo.
And then it was a really bad sign when they made Master Chief take off his helmet in the first episode.
I remember people getting so angry about that.
There's zero build up. Like it's been like 8 games or something, and they haven't had Master Chief take off his fucking helmet.
Yeah.
That's like the point. God, I'm still mad about it. So
Just being COVID.
yeah, yeah. Well, not melting, but the rest, yeah. I'm pretty good with hair at the very least.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't really watch too many TV shows anymore because like I just get really busy and I try not to let my focus get too distracted.
I mean, that's fair. What kind of shows do you like to watch when you do though?
God, the one that really captured me for a while was like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
That's fair. Oh, I haven't finished Better Call Saul actually. I need to finish it. It's just like there's a lot of a lot of like Better Call Saul. It's like I always get like 3 or 4 seasons in, and then I'm like, ah, goddamn, I have like other stuff to watch, and I get distracted.
Yeah, I think I remember talking about this with you. What I end up doing is I just commit to one show until I'm done,
Hmm.
and then that's it.
Yeah, I did. Last time I tried was when I came over to UK. I was like watching it on the plane and stuff. I did get like 3 4 seasons in again. So I think I could actually. I still remember pretty well. I think I can like start getting caught up from there. I think I can start again.
Yeah, it is like properly finished as well, so you can probably like.
True, true. It's not too hard to like just like fucking get try and get it started. It's not like an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Yeah, I'll see if I can get back into it. I don't know. How do you feel about like superhero stuff?
I remember I did watch Luke Cage back in the day, but then the writing really went after season 1, so I was like,
Mm. Yeah, I didn't watch any more after like the first few episodes. I think. I
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
the first season was quite good because it was very down to earth and grounded.
Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, I did like that as well about Luke Cage. It did feel a little bit less like just like insane relative like to other Marvel stuff. I mean, I'm just like
Yeah.
generally. I feel like I'm just generally not really much of a Marvel fan. Maybe. It's
Yeah,
like
no, I tried watching a bit of Miss Marvel when it first came out, but
I liked
kind
I liked like the first half of Miss Marvel. I think because like I like her family, right? Like her family dynamics is like sort of relatable, and like it's like and then they're actually like a nice family. They're not like asshole family, and I like to
Yeah.
see more of like healthy family dynamics and relationships in media. And I was like, you know, that's really cool. It's really nice that they portray like their mom and dad. It's like, yes, they have like problems, but it's not that they don't care about her. They want to work for with her. You know, that's like I really like that. You know, and all that stuff. And then there's like a scene where like the her brother is like, you know, like her dad is like sort of like teaching her brother a little bit about like getting married and being like, you know, like growing up and stuff, and you know all that stuff is like nice. I like that. And then like they just like threw that like, and then like towards the end they're just like, fucking crazy Marvel bullshit. They're like, okay, all right, I don't know why you're giving me like free love interest, but okay, I don't get it.
oh my god,
These fingers are so deformed.
he's just suffering. Just let him be.
Mm-hmm.
Suffering from success. I'm doing a little bit of the forearm now. I kind of do this thing where I start with the fingers and then I work my way back.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Buff farm.
It could either be muscular or just full of cancer. We're not sure yet.
It could be either one. I was gonna say though, yeah, I'm generally actually more of a DC fan than like a Marvel fan. Like I think DC has some really solid shows.
Yeah, I bet the DC shows are a lot better than the Marvel shows.
DC Peacemaker? No, right?
Oh, I've heard of it actually. I've seen some stuff on like fan art on Twitter as well. So
It's the James Gunn one with John Cena. That one is quite fun. I like that one a lot.
so James Gunn directed a TV show.
Yes. Well, he's in charge of all of DC now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just in charge. They're like, well, fuck, we need like our version of like Kevin Feige or something, and so James Gunn is like literally like the director of DC, like the DC cinematic universe. Like now it's all him. So I feel like it might be cool. I don't like that he got rid of Henry Cavill, because like he was planned to come back, and then they're like, well, we're rebooting like the thing, so it's like the no more Henry. And I was like, god damn it! But like Henry's a really good Superman. So I don't like that, but like I think he's gonna do interesting things because like I don't think I've seen James Gunn do a bad superhero thing so far.
Yeah, no, his Guardians of the Galaxy stuff was really good.
And he always really likes sort of like the obscure and wacky shit, and that works really well for superhero stuff because they just have so much wacky shit that you really shouldn't be taking too seriously.
Oh yeah, genuinely shouldn't.
Yeah. I also really like Doom Patrol, which is another DC show that's not.
I've heard of that one.
Yes, I really, really, really like that one. Like because it's like a superhero show, but not be about being superheroes. It's a superhero show, basically about like just like found family and like supporting each other and like emotional shit. And it's like, you know what? That's good. I like that.
Yeah, that's very nice. I do like that.
They have like entire episode that's literally just like group therapy. There's zero fighting in that episode. It's just group therapy.
Is it animated or?
No. It's live action. The Harley Quinn show is actually also really good. That one's animated. That one's really fun.
I have watched a bit of the Harley Quinn show when it first came out, and that was really good.
Yeah, so like I said, like just DC just does way better with the shows.
Yeah, I remember when they used to be like a massive laughing stock because of the movies.
They still are. I mean, to be fair, the movies have gotten like somewhat better, but like Shazam was still bad. Wonder Woman was not. The latest Wonder Woman was not very good.
But that was still like a few years ago though.
Yeah, but the latest Shazam was like a couple months ago.
Let's see. I think we're gonna go for cancer rather than muscular.
Oh no, poor Hand.
Poor hand. He suffered so much.
He's so brave, you know. He's trying really hard. He's really trying his best.
Going through cancer. His chemotherapy is scheduled. You know.
He'll get through it. His family's very supportive. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, like he's got a very good support network. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna nudge these knuckles for a little bit, and then I think we can do some shader shit.
Yeah, I want to do some shit.
So I can actually teach how to use those materials properly instead of just like vaguely existing around them.
And me being very confused by the notes.
Yes. By the way, I completely destroyed my topology here. I completely destroyed my geometry here because, like, honestly, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, most of the time, like, character artists will probably just be sculpting and then, like, retopologizing everything anyway. So, basically what retopology does is just, like, you're building... I explained this already. You're building geometry on top of your existing geometry to make the flow actually good. So like it's like they'll take this like super high detail mesh that you sculpt, and then what you do is just like for example, there's like a really good Blender tool called Retopo Flow. They can just draw new polygons on top of it, and then so you can like make those like make that flow nice instead of having like that shitty flow like non-existent polygon flow you get from your sculpt.
Yeah. Actually, this is alright. Apart from the fingernails that I need to do, and also a little bit of horrible anatomy on the wrist, it's actually looking kind of alright.
Cool.
If everything was fine, it would be better, but...
I'm just going to ignore... I am going to ignore my me feeling that the hand is not very good, but I could spend like ages on this and just like actually making everything work, which I have done before, but I'm not going to do that now because it's probably more worth it for you and anybody else watching for me to just like move on and go over shader stuff.
Yes.
Oh, also another DC show that I like.
Yes.
I like Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing that was being done by, is it James Wan or something was his name?
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, so like that show is like almost horror, so like there's like horror elements to it, and that's super cool. And it's like sort of like spooky, like spooky small town in the bayou sort of vibe, and that was really fun actually.
Self-titled TV series. It's very obscure.
It got canceled like before it even aired, unfortunately, but it was actually good. Like,
That's always the case, isn't it?
it's such bullshit. Oh wait, this is the wrong OBJ. Wait, where did I export it to? Images. Oh, okay. But yeah, that shit always that happens way too much. Like, it's such bullshit. I canceled it. It was actually good.
That sucks.
Yeah. What other DC shows are there? Titans is bad. Titans is too edgy for its own good. Watchmen was pretty good, even though that's not really in the main DC superhero stuff.
I actually really enjoyed The Boys.
The Boys was okay. Yeah, I like The Boys, but I haven't finished it, so I don't feel qualified enough to like judge per se.
That's fair enough, yeah. I think they're releasing another season as well.
Yes, they are. They're not going away. Oh, The Sandman was really good. The Sandman was really solid.
Nice. By the way, how do we topology the thingy?
We're not going to retopologize it today, I think, because that is more of an advanced thing that you have to worry about. And yeah, we're going over the basics today. So, and also like I would probably want to use an add-on for that. I wouldn't be doing this in base blender. I would actually use like the add-on because like base blender is not really that good for retopology. That's the nice thing about blender though, because like anything that base blender doesn't really do very well, there is an add-on that does that really good. So you can the thing I usually use for retopology is called retopoflow. Let me just show you on stream.
Okay. I'm just gonna have a quick look at where it is.
Yeah, it's on Blender Market. So this is retopoflow.
Okay.
I'll show you a quick demo.
Hey everyone.
Oh no, not this. This is like fucking forever. But yeah, so you can see like you can literally just like draw over a mesh and then like create new cuts. You see?
I see. So it kind of like
And
instead
you
of relying on the base mesh.
Yep.
You just kind of.
And you can draw. See, you can draw strips of polygons.
Amazing what people can just do, you know.
Yeah. So it's like this is really, really good for topology. So you can like not care about at all about geometry, and then use this to create like a nice version of the geometry over it, basically.
I see.
Yeah. So this one's very good. But yes. Let's.
Polypen, that looks something that's right up my alley.
Yeah. That stuff is all really good. But yes, let's talk a little bit about the shaders, I think.
Yes.
So, let me grab what you're doing. Okay.
Before you begin, would you like to show the stream my lovely little purple hand?
Yes, it's a beautiful purple hand. I mean, it's okay. It's got a little bit of cancer, but just a little bit. It's not that much cancer. It's just a little bit.
I quite like how I did like the tendons and stuff around the wrists.
Yeah. Good job.
Fan of that.
Yeah, I definitely think it still needs a little bit more of like the vertical volume in the palm area. Like, yeah, it's much more of like I want to say almost like triangular shape where it's like thick at the connection to wrist and then goes much thinner towards the end. Uh,
Yeah, I agree. For a first ever hand sculpt,
it's not bad though. It's a pretty decent first try at a hand, and you can always improve it more afterwards.
yes, very
But
happy with that.
yeah. Okay.
And it's a good little starting thing, you know.
Yes. So let's talk about shaders. You know what? Let me switch up my screens again, because
Mm.
this is actually my tablet is much smaller than the rest of my than the other monitors I have. I usually do my 3D work on my big monitors. Give me a second.
I see. I got you.
Okay. Alright, so we're back to my proper monitor. Alright, let's talk about shaders. Shaders are nice. So, okay. First, I want you to drag out a second window.
I got a second window, so the one on the top corner here.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Alright,
The
so
window is done.
click this, the editor type, next to the object mode.
Yep.
And go down to shader editor and click on that.
Shader editor.
Yep.
There we go.
There you go. There's your shader editor.
Ah,
So you can see that these are nodes, right?
yes.
So each of these is a node. So like you can see me sort of like drag this around. Basically, each of these is basically its own little block of code. And on the left side are inputs, and the right side are outputs. So you can see it's got base color, blah blah blah, all those stuff you saw in the panel next on the panel, the material properties. They're all here, basically. When you're changing that stuff in the material properties, they change the node. So essentially, and then right now by default you have two nodes. You've got a material output node, and you've got a principled BSDF shader node. So
I'm
the
just gonna write that down real quick because principled BSDF sounds a bit.
just call it the principled node.
Ah.
So basically, this is your, the green node is your shader, right? Those are your shader nodes. Shaders is basically what determines how all the material is calculated. It's basically how your material is calculated, right? What displays on your model.
How my materials are calculated. Right. So is that like texture specifically, or is
You
it
can plug textures into it.
okay?
So you see how we've got like all these inputs, right? So but you don't have to worry about too many of them. So there's a few of them that you wanted to care about. So I'm just going to add an RGB node into all the ones that I have to care about. So there's RGB. These some RGB node. I'm gonna plug that into base color. Base color is one of the most important ones because that is a base texture of your thing. And like we showed before, if you change the different color, the base color is going to change.
How do you bring up another node?
Shift A, add.
Shift A. Okay, so like the mesh.
Yep.
Okay.
So you've got all of these categories of nodes. RGB should be in under.
I got it.
Input, yeah, input RGB, and you can also like copy and paste those. By the way, so yeah, and then you just
Copy and paste them. Okay.
yeah, you can copy and paste nodes. So you see like those like so you can see that RGB is an input node, so it doesn't have input it doesn't have input pins. It only has one output pin. So you plug that output pin into the base color of your principal node, and you can control it from there. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool.
Make that nice.
And then next, the next one you have to care about is metallic down here.
Metallic.
So that just controls how metal your material is. So if you set to like all white, essentially, if you don't plug in a node, it's 0 to 1, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, in math, it's basically like math, right? I believe white is 1 and black is 0. So it's just like values. So if you plug in RGB node, you set it to black. It should wait. No, or set the opposite way around. Yeah, no, actually, yeah, white is 1 and black is 0. Yeah. So if you set it to white, then it's properly metallic. If you set it to black, it's not metallic. So the black, so that's why how textures work, right? So when you plug in a texture that maps it onto the object, you get it. So like parts of the texture that's black, these will be not metal, and parts of the texture that are white will be metal.
So white metal.
And okay, same with so it just converts it to math basically. So you've got that. You've got metallic. Very simple. Either it's metal, it's not metal. But you can also like if you want to like get a weird effect that's sort of in between, you can like set it in between. So for now, let's set it to metal. The next one you have to care about is roughness. Roughness is basically just how rough a surface is. So let's plug in this RGB node to roughness. And you can immediately.
So RGB is like the thing that kind of.
RGB is just a color, right? RGB is just a flat color, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a texture, it is just a flat color. And it gets mapped onto your model. So you can see it's the exact same thing as with the metal, right? It's, once again, white is 1, so it's fully rough, and black is 0, so it's fully rough. So you see if it's metal, and I said to black, that means it is like basically like chrome. So that's how you control how rough your material is. Make sense?
Yes, if we do that. Do you want to have a quick look at my
Yeah, I'm looking.
very shiny hand? Yeah, there we go.
Have a good time. Cool. So there's another couple ones you might want to care about. So there's alpha, which, like I said before, is basically just how transparent your thing is.
Oh yeah.
At the bottom there. I'm not going to plug that in because we don't need to mess around with that. And then there's also emission, which is glow, basically. So that determines what light and how. So you've got emission and emission strength. So if I plug this into emission and set it to pink, it's going to glow pink.
Oh, okay. Give that a go.
And then if I wanted to control how strong the light coming from it is, I can use emission strength to say, if I say like 24, it's gonna glow a lot, like you can see on. By the way, if you want to see like the bloom like I have on my here, go into your render properties.
Render properties. Okay. Yeah.
At the top here,
Yep.
and turn on bloom.
Turn on bloom.
Also turn on ambient occlusion.
Ambient.
It's above bloom. Yeah, so just turn the emission strength really high. So you get that nice like sort of glow. So
Okay, that's very cool. So let me just quickly note that down.
now you've got a flow. You've got like a glowing hand.
This would be so. This would be so good for like objects as well. Like,
Yes. Very much so. So yes. There's one more input that you might want to care about. I'm gonna turn the emission down to 0 for now because I don't want it to glow. The last one that you might want to really care about is normal. Essentially what normal does is just influences how the light is displayed on your object. So it's basically when you see a normal map in a video game, it's basically trying to like add extra detail without the detail being on the geometry. So just to demonstrate how that works, I'm going to add a checker texture, and then I'm going to plug it in. It is not going to work because the normal node is a little bit normals are a little bit different. It needs to convert information into a normal map because it's not just like a flat image, right? It's trying to tell you where the information is. So what you need to do, especially with like a black and white texture, is you need to plug it into a bump node. You plug it into the height and you connect it.
Okay. Just to clarify that, so basically you start off with a what's that texture called again? The checker texture.
Yeah, it's just like any random texture. Like if you go to your add menu, there's an area called texture. You can add like any texture. You know, I can like add a brick texture and use that instead.
Might go for, yeah, I'll use checker texture just to have a look. And then you use a bump menu.
A bump node, yes.
Bump node. Okay, bump node.
A
So
bump
node.
node, a bump node basically just converts black and white information into a normal map. A normal map is what you. I also have a normal map node here, which is what you use if you have like a downloaded normal map from the internet, essentially. Cool.
Gotcha.
You can always ask me if you forget, because like a lot of this stuff is like there's a lot of information, and I won't expect you to remember all of this like immediately.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, knowing what they're called at, at the very least does help. So, what you did there was you added a brick texture and you put it in height.
Yep. But
So, okay, yeah, color.
but you can see on my screen that essentially once I plug that in, right, it's sort of like it acts as if there's like sort of like indents there when there's not actually an indent, right?
And you're not modeling each and every
Yeah,
one.
you're not modeling those. It's just like faking detail, basically.
Well, look at that.
You can also do something similar. You can actually change the geometry through the textures with displacement, which I will quickly show you how to do, I think.
Yeah.
But you don't need to. Also, my model is like 500,000 polygons, so I don't know how well this will go. But let's ignore that for now. If it dies, that's on me.
If
So
it perishes.
let's do a Voronoi texture. So Voronoi texture is gonna look like this. Let me color ramp this. So okay, so now you can see this is the texture I have on this thing. I'm gonna use that to displace the model. Ideally, if this works. So displacement, supported experimental. Hopefully this should work.
Just watching this occur. This is very funny.
Is it doing it? It's doing something. Object space. I'm trying because like I don't usually do displacement because like normally I just have like a really high poly model anyway. It really doesn't matter. Oh, you know,
So what would it usually look like? Would it be without the larger metal parts?
it will actually change. It would actually like sort of like raise and lower your model. So for example, if you look at the texture, right? So the white part should raise up, and the black part should raise down. So it should go down. So basically, it's a way of like creating more actual unevenness in your model. Like is another way of getting extra detail. It's like a normal map on steroids because it's actually changing how your model is rendered without changing your geometry. I don't know. I don't think I'm getting it working super well right now. I don't think. I'm trying to like figure out. Oh wait, no, I'm not even on render mode. Okay, let me see if this works.
Yeah, no, the node system is a lot easier than when I first started in 2018. I think they definitely cleaned up some of the UI for that.
They definitely did. You know what? Let's not worry about the displacement. I have to like. I keep forgetting exactly how to do it. It's not super important for now, anyway.
That's fine. It's
Yeah.
definitely something to explore in the future, I reckon.
Yeah. Look at how to actually do it later. Like I just don't remember exactly how.
Do it properly. But yeah, you've shown me what it's called, so it'll be a lot easier to look at, like.
Yes.
and stuff.
Yep. And now, basically, now that you know like what the nodes are, so you can just start downloading textures and plugging them into like these different slots you have, right? So, and also you can adjust your things. You can think about nodes sort of almost like layers, adjustment layers in Photoshop. So if you, for example, I can add a bright contrast node. So let's say I add another texture. Let's add like Musgrave texture. Okay, so
What is Musgrave?
it's just like this. It's sort of like a noise thing.
Okay.
So you can see I have this, on this Musgrave texture node, it has like scale because these are basically built-in textures, so that like Blender will generate them for you. So like it's got like you can sort of scale it, you can like control how much detail it is, you know, sort of control the dimensionality, linearity, whatever hell that is. Basically, you can adjust these textures, right? So
Question about the vector node connection there on the Musgrave texture. So when you plug that into, like, say, an imported texture, does that kind of affect how it looks?
What do you mean? The Musgrave
So
texture?
yeah, so you see the little vector bit
Yes.
there. So would you kind of like introduce like a vector image?
No. That's not what that is for. The vector is
Uh,
basically affecting how it's mapped onto your model. So I will explain that in just a little bit. So you see I added like a mapping node and a texture coordinate node. So what it does is like you can use that to like affect how it's mapped onto your image. So you can see I'm sort of like manipulating it, I'm rotating it, I can like change it. I'll explain that in just a little bit, but let me quickly demonstrate first. So you've got a bright contrast node, plug it in, and you can use that to brighten up the texture.
okay.
So this works exactly like a brightness and contrast adjustment layer in Photoshop.
Ah.
Yep. You've also got other ones. So you've got like color ramp, which is the same as levels in Photoshop. So you can sort of like use that to sort of like bring it up, clamp it down. You've got curves, which is the same as curves in Photoshop. So these are like you can sort of like you can see like how you can start using these to like sort of adjust like textures to bring in, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like it opens up so many doors than just sort of introducing just a, like putting an image over a layer kind of thing.
Exactly. Let me see if I can quickly grab some textures because I already did like a textures like a shader stream last week I think. So I'm
I
not.
could probably give that a watch and like learn.
Yeah, because I was working with like Sarah and another friend of mine, and I was like teaching him how to do all this stuff as well. But I did download a few textures already, so let me just like so you can just literally drag and drop these like image files into Blender, and it will just turn them into image texture nodes.
Just automatically. You don't have to worry about like importing them.
Yeah, exactly. So you just drag them in, and it becomes an image texture node with a color output, and I plug it into base color.
And then you connect the color to.
Roughness, connect the roughness. Oh right, it's not mapping correctly because it doesn't have a UV. See if generation works. Yeah, okay. But maybe I should just quickly UV. Oh no, it's like 500,000. Fuck. Fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I should decimate this, but it's okay. It's fine. How do you do square projection here again? It's not a big deal. I'll figure it out later. But I'll just use the generated mapping for now. And you see this one is this one is a normal texture. Wait, let me plug it in. So this was a normal texture. That's what whenever you see like those like weird blue and purple textures in video games are, that's their normal textures. So that's what you need a normal map node for. You plug it in, and it converts it into something usable for your shaders to read. So you just plug everything in, and
So the normal is like the translator between both image files, texture maps, and like certain nodes as well.
yes, basically. So let's say we use that same material. What material is this? Material 1. So material 1 on this. Let me cut this up actually. So, wait, what does the UV map look like? Oh, because it's still using generated, so it doesn't work. Okay, I will explain what UV maps are just in a little bit. Okay, but yeah, you see, like I've got like a full like material on this cube now.
Yeah, and that's from popping in the image, popping in mapping and normal and
Yep.
all that stuff.
Yep, so you can just download stuff. And see, now it's like a actual rock surface thing.
I'm still like absolutely just taken away by the emissions node.
I love that node.
I liked it.
It's so nice. It's so neat. It's so neat. But yes, okay, so let's quickly talk about UV maps. So, Let me open up the UV editor.
Right. Where would the UV editor?
Same thing. You go up to like the shader editor, and then you select the UV editor. It's right below the image editor.
Ah, yes, I see.
Yeah. So you see when you select all of the faces in your model, right? You can. Let me get rid of this first. And you know what? I can keep it there. But so you can see that we've got. This is a cube, so you've got like all these different faces of the cubes. So I select a single face, you can see the cube, the face on this 2D image plane. So essentially what a UV map is just like a 2D it's a 2D coordinates of your 3D object, right? So basically is think about it like we have this cube, and we are it's the same thing as when you have like you have you ever like built a cube out of like paper, right? You need to like cut it into like so it has like six different sides, and then you wrap it up to become a cube. So essentially what a UV is, it's that 3D object, but you've unwrapped it onto that 2D plane. So you're using this data to tell the program where the data, where these textures should be mapped onto your 3D object. So you can see if I select this face, that so this information on this normal map is being mapped onto this face. So when you unwrap it, that's why you need to like create these UV unwrap. You need like UV data for your object, so it can wrap like the texture information correctly onto your object. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
So when you go back into your shader editor, that's why. So in order to control your how your textures are mapped onto object, you can use the texture coordinate node and the mapping node together. I would recommend at this point to go into your add-ons again. No, go to add-ons. This is like.
Yeah, sorry, I was just writing that down. So going into add-ons, so that would be up in preferences.
Yes, preferences.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Add-ons.
Yep.
And then search for node.
Yep. No. So we've got a few.
Look for the bottom one, the node wrangler.
Node wrangler.
Turn that on. Basically, that just gives you extra useful like tips that shortcuts and hotkeys for your the node editor. That's super useful. So for example, if you hold shift and control, that's basically previewing a node, right? So that will immediately just like connect that node to the material output. So if I want to only look at this color map, I click on it, and it's just going to like connect that immediately to the preview, to a material output, so I can see it immediately.
Oh, that's quite good actually.
Yeah, so you can just like look at what it's doing. So that's like a really handy shortcut. The other handy shortcut is Control T. So if you have like an image texture node selected, so for example, let's disconnect that. If I have disconnected, if I press Control T, it's immediately going to add a texture coordinate node and a mapping node to it, so you can use that to control your
Texture coordinate. What was the other one called again? So adding a texture coordination node as well as a
mapping node.
Mapping node. Gotcha.
Yeah. And a shortcut for that is Control T.
Yeah, and just write down that shortcut. I like writing down shortcuts.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I'll pop that down there for now. Let's do some stuff, I reckon. So I made a little UV sphere.
Yep.
For me to try out the UV mapping, just to shake it up a bit.
Yep.
So how do we pop down textures? So we pop down textures onto a UV map by doing them in something like Photoshop or another window?
You can do that. Yeah, you can like hand paint textures in Photoshop and stuff. You don't have to. I already did went over this like last week when I like demonstrated a little bit of like sort of like texture painting. I think I should do like an entire stream about it next time, because we're already like 3 hours in. We can do that like properly next time and have like everybody on to like do like a proper sort of like a texture walkthrough. For now, just like just like download textures off the internet and pop them on here. A site I usually I would recommend for doing that is Polyhaven. I'm gonna show down stream. Go to polyhaven.com. They're really good. They are like free, and they pretty much like they let people like they're just supported by the community basically. So if you go to Polyhaven, they have a section for just textures they can download. It gives you like the entire texture set. So for like roughness, normal, displacement, all that, you get that all from here.
I like
Yeah.
how it's displayed as well. It's very nice.
Another thing that you might want to think about is HDRIs. Basically what HDRIs are, they're just like 360-degree images that you can use to light your scene. So I'm going to show you that real quick because that is actually very fun. HDR. So if you try downloading one of the HDRIs from the Polyhaven.
Okay, I'm gonna go for this one. There we go. And it looks like it's a .exr.
Yes, that is correct.
Pretty excited.
Let me know when that's downloaded.
Yep, should be downloaded.
Cool.
Yep, it's just downloaded.
Okay, cool. So go back to your shader editor, click the object up here,
Hang on. Yep, so object.
and then select world. Yep, you got it. So the world is basically. Let me take a look at what you're doing. Give me a sec.
Hang on.
Go back to your shader editor first.
Yep, shader editor.
You're still on your UV editor. Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Object world. World is basically just the shader for your world as well. So you can do pretty much the same things. You can do all your adjustments and stuff. So drag your your HDRI texture into the shader editor.
That.
There you go. And then create an environment texture node because you dragged it in and it's interpreting as a normal image. It's not interpreting as a 360-degree image. And go to environment texture. Press either. You don't have to press open. If you press open, that means you just browse for it. What you can do is press this little button I have, browse image to be linked, and then you can select it from a list of the existing textures in your file.
Yep. So just did that one.
And plug the color into the background.
Let's see.
Now see if
Color. Oh yeah, color to color. Yeah.
now that I've plugged it in, I go into like the rendered mode. You can see the HDRI working.
So going into
At the top, you're still in material preview.
Oh yeah.
Scroll your bar. Hover over the top bar and scroll to move. I think to move it around. Yep, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's the far right. Yep. Press that.
So viewport shading here.
Yes. There you go. Now you've got it, and it is correct. It is lighting your model. So if I turn it to invisible by making it transparent, so you can still see that like all the lighting from that HDRI is actually coming onto your model. So you get like super realistic lighting with just like plug-in image in.
That is really cool. That is
Yeah.
insanely cool.
It's
I'm
super useful. Yeah.
So now I know how to like set up my documents fairly effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to set up my meshes effectively and not get, freaked out by the fact that some stuff overlays.
Mm-hmm.
I can sculpt things again, which is very nice. I miss sculpting.
Cool.
And now I can pop in a background that makes it look really nice and really cool. And I
Cool.
can use nodes to a very basic extent.
Sounds good. I mean, some people do absolutely insane stuff with nodes. I've seen somebody like do like a burger generator node setup. Let me if I can find that actually. I want to show you. Like it's like fucking that shit is crazy. Geometry nodes burger. I think this is it.
Oh, let's see. Geometry nodes burger with procedural materials.
To be fair, this is not only with a shader. This is like there's a node system as well for geometry that generates geometry with the node system, so you can do a bunch of math and stuff with it.
Burger.
Yep.
Burger loading. Look at
Burger generation, beautiful.
that. This is very funny.
There's some absolutely crazy stuff that people have done. There's like shader generated burgers as well. I've seen, but I don't know exactly where it is right now, and also it's making me a little bit hungry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean I got home I got home at like 5:30. Remember? Because I had lunch with my friends. Like one of my friends at the studio had his birthday on like Thursday, and then so we all went out to because he's Portuguese, we found like a Portuguese restaurant in in Brixton, yeah, and it was nice. The food was really sweet. It was actually a really good restaurant. We had a really good time there. So yeah, we went out to get food, and yeah, I only just got back. I have not had dinner, but I have like all those like I have like a bunch of the groceries from the studio, so I don't know. Maybe I just do dumplings, something simple, but I can also use those. I still have like a bowl of paella left from yesterday, but I might save that for lunch. I might bring that to the studio tomorrow for lunch.
I'm about to crash, my dude.
You
Oh
okay?
no, I didn't crash. Hey.
I'm having my hand pat my cube right now.
That's very nice. I want my hand to pat my little UV sphere. But I think we're both at a point where it's a very good time to end. I reckon. We did a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah, yeah. Before we wrap up, do you have any questions or like anything you didn't really understand or remember from today?
Honestly, not really. Like one of the main things I wanted to ask a question about was answered with the knife tool that you showed me earlier. So,
Right. That was
like,
very
being
useful.
yeah, being able to like sort of reformat the meshes a little bit so that it doesn't explode, basically.
Yes, pretty much. If you also don't really care about the geometry flow, you can also remesh it. So let me quickly demonstrate that actually. So let's say we have Suzanne over here and we want to remesh Suzanne. You can do that by adding a remesh modifier, I think. A remesh modifier. There you go. So basically it just like voxelizes your object. So you can sort of like control the voxel size.
Oh yeah.
So you can do that, and it'll just like voxelize it'll project voxels onto your object and just like make it voxels basically. So it should help fix a lot of issues. But obviously that will not work with hard surface. This works best with sculpting because it will absolutely just destroy your existing geometry.
So if I'm not too attached to the geometry or I'm doing sculpting, then that's the way to do it.
Yes, if you are doing careful hard surface work, probably don't do this. Or you can just like try and boolean out that part and cut it off so you can like redo that part. It's like a lot of the times if you're doing hard surface, a lot of it's like just sort of like, oh god, I fucked up. I'm gonna have to fix it. Spend like 10 minutes fixing this. You know, it happens.
Yeah, that makes sense. Radio. So I just wrote that one down. I reckon I'm gonna try and give maybe like a static 3D sculpted model a go tomorrow, just in my own time.
Yeah, sounds good.
But yeah, I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much.
Of course. Hope you learned stuff. Hope it was
I
useful.
learned many things. It's been very, very cool.
Okay,
I've
awesome.
written stuff down, so in case I forget.
Yeah, you can watch my last stream before this on my channel and stuff to get all the shaders, to get the shader info that I was sharing with Saren. You can, I mean, some of it is redundant, but I do go a lot more in depth than I did with you today.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if I forget anything, I can just rewatch this.
Yeah,
pretty much.
exactly.
It worked out. See?
Awesome, cool. So let's sign off. You want to say your goodbyes?
Right. Well, thank you so much for having me today. I have been Sophie Elliott, freelance illustrator. illustrator, also available for commissions if anyone is interested. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, man. It's always a huge pleasure to have you on. It's always so much fun. Now that you're back from US, hopefully we get to do this regularly again. And as long
I've missed doing this.
as long as I'm not super busy, it's always great to like just hang out and like do some art stuff. It's fun. Maybe we can even set up some portfolio reviews. I've been talking to like the concept art club from SCAD, and it might be fun to like just like go through a bunch of concept art portfolios and talk some shit. Well, give constructive feedback, but
I mean, that's the professional way of saying it, isn't it?
yes, pretty much. But yes, thanks for hanging out with us today if you've been here. Thanks for watching a video. If you actually watched this after the fact and watched like 3 hours of content for some reason, you're insane, but cool, thanks. I'm had a lot of fun, and I think that was good enough, and we're signing off for today. Cool. Bye, guys.
Alrighty, bye bye.
And that's it. Cool.